Late Night Grin. Also, what does that name mean?
We're here, folks. Another week, another Grin, another Friday, another edition of our glorious flagship. We hope you are well. We hope you're excited for the weekend. We hope you had a great week. And we are here for a pretty positive program, right? I mean, this to me is kind of the reverse of what we did a couple of weeks ago of August 1 morning. We're talking tonight our favourite live experiences, matches, moments, things we've seen in person. We have an expert panel as always. Kaden Lee, how are you?
I'm good, Joe. I had a good week, and I'm here again as we made. I made a list of my moments.
Chris Jericho,
and I pulled out the old receipt paper once again.
Jesus, excellent. Excellent. Everyone loves that gimmick. It's definitely a thing people will remember and go, "Oh yes, the receipt paper is back." That's definitely a thing that's happening across the world right now.
I know.
Among our glorious grinners, Novi. Not sure about the attire. Very 2002 indies, but
yeah,
you're a confident kid, and I like that, babe. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm ready to earn this $5 tonight. It's going to be real good. I don't have any receipt paper. I just have a list of tabs with all the shows I've been to because I just keep track of them in a bookmark, and I just kind of let it rock. We'll see how this goes.
I sense there are a range of different approaches to tonight's preparation. I got to be honest. We'll see. Bob O'Neill, how are you?
I'm doing well. This one was actually a lot harder to prepare for than the last one was, which I kind of figured it would be, but I got a good list going, I think.
So, when I invited you on this show, Bobby, it kind of dawned on me and it became the lead attraction for me. Like, I was thinking, has Bob ever had a good experience at a wrestling show? Because it feels like every time you've been to a show, some sort of like catastrophe has followed.
Yeah, we'll see tonight.
Excellent. Conjuring Alex, you've certainly had some experience. I've had some alongside you. How are you feeling this evening, bro?
I'm good. Man, August has been a fucking clunky-ass month so far. I hosted a whole weekend get-together for SummerSlam, and then last weekend I had some important stuff going on, and then I was sick in between and whatnot, and I'm fucking a week away from leaving to go see Oasis. So this month has been it's a lot on the old noodle. So I'm very glad that not only am I on the flagship this evening, but I've been called upon to access the fucking Rolodex in my brain from the hundreds and hundreds of shows that I've been to. And I appreciate the young kids with their preparation and whatnot. I did write down specific things I wanted to mention, but this is going to be a lot of call in the ring tonight from my perspective, and excited to do so.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, honestly, as long as we've been talking about pro wrestling, there are still tales I've never heard in regards to your live experiences. So I do think you're going to inevitably steer the ship here, but we must note we do have a Hall of Famer in attendance. A little late notice edition. Jack Crosby in the building. Jackie, how are you, mate?
Hello, everyone. As a Paramount employee, I am contractually obligated to only talk about the UFC. I have no idea why I'm here.
Well,
it's the pain, Jack.
I'll lead with this. I have some. I'll do one because purely for wrestling. Live UFC anecdote, genuine moment in my life as a young man. I was there for Dan Hardy versus Carlos Condit, which was the Bisping Akiyama card.
Mm-hmm.
O2 Arena, sold out.
Oh,
I will
babe.
never forget the sound. Yeah, the sound or lack thereof, exactly, Alex, when that left hook landed on Dan Hardy's chin. Dan Hardy had a granite chin. He'd never been knocked out to that point, as far as I recall. So that was a moment in time.
He got put out cold in that one.
He did. Yep. Carlos Condit, great fighter. Dan Hardy, good pundit. All right. Let's talk professional wrestling. Now, we're going to go all over the place tonight. We don't really have a format because how could you possibly go a format for such a thing? We're going to go in so many different directions. But this is going to just be a hangout, okay? We're just going to, walk through some memories, talk through some memories. Part of the reason that we're doing this rather than the actual Graps talk that we intended was because of the charity stream, which is tomorrow, 6 Eastern tomorrow, might I add, which will be split in 2 halves across our 2 channels. The first half will be on this very channel. At the end of this show, I'm going to put the Just Giving link in the chat. I don't want to overly promote that because we literally have 24 hours to promote it when we're on the air, but I just want to get it, in circulation. I have got the ball rolling. Kaden Lee, because you are in pursuit of the whole, feat of the straight 24-hour podcast, just talk the people through the 2 causes we'll be raising money for, mate. Go for it.
Yeah, so we're doing 2. One's more personal to me, and the other is not as personal, but it still is personal to me to an extent. So one of them is the Trevor Project, which raises money for LGBTQ plus youth. So that's one that a lot of people have been. It's been very popular recently, especially during Pride Month. So that's one that whenever we first announced it, I know Six Star was able to kind of talk a lot about how it's helped them and people in their lives. So yeah, that's one that I'm very happy that we're going to be raising money for. And then the other one that's way more personal to me is the Gina Montalto Memorial Foundation. Gina was a friend of mine who passed away in the 2018 Marjorie Stoneman Douglas school shootings. And her family started a foundation that it raises money for to help kids be able to afford further education or higher education, as well as donated us some other charities that Gina supported. So those are the 2 that we're going to be raising money for tomorrow during the 24 hours.
Indeed, and the way this has worked out is the first time we did a charity stream, I think we did the deal where all the money went my way and then I donated, which I think is not preferable for the charities, to put it mildly. Then on Twitch, they handle it for you, right? Obviously, we're doing it on YouTube this time, so we're going to be using Just Giving. The way it works is actually really cool. We have a team page. So it will tell you guys the amount of money we raise as the Grin as a collective, but you can actually pick where you want to distribute your donation. Now, while we're on the air tomorrow, we're obviously naturally going to probably, we would like to keep the funds even because that makes more sense, right? We're raising money for 2, and that's how we would have split if we was doing it out of our own pocket. But you can kind of pick and choose, and it will go directly to the charity. So I'll share that link later, but we'll obviously be ramping it up much more in hour 1 of 24 tomorrow. Let's do some wrestling talk, fellas. Let's get into it. Contrarian Alex, I feel it's only right I pass the ball to you first. This is literally how we're going to do this. You can start wherever you want. Where would you like to start? When I just say to you, live wrestling memories, where's the first place your brain goes?
I'm going to do this also because I don't want to step on and repeat stuff for our loyal Grin Grappler listeners. There's plenty of stories. Honestly, my brain immediately goes to Rock Cena at WrestleMania 28, and I have a whole tale of that on our Rock Grin Grappler episode. Daniel Bryan winning at WrestleMania 30 was an incredible moment. That's kind of like the peak of my fandom there, is that overestimating my ability to handle edibles for Great Balls of Fire. That story's been documented also in our Alexa Bliss Grin Grappler.
Yeah, just for the house, can we run that one back just for this one? Okay, because this is one of my all-time favorites. Please.
All right, so Great Balls of Fire. Before I got to call out before the show at the House of Blues next to the American Airlines Center. On my Instagram feed, I teased that I was going to rank the best beers in the country at arenas I've been to. The American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas, they get them just so cold. That's the best place. Second best is SoFi Stadium. Now, moving along here, before the show, House of Blues near American Airlines Center, I met former Twitter legend, the Fray movement there. We had a couple cold ones before we walked over, and on the way over, my sister had recently come home from California and brought some adult candy with her, and I took one. It was about the size of a Starburst. It was delicious, and I ate it. And on my walk over, and I get to the arena, and I get to my seat, my sister texts me because she knew I took it with her. She's like, "Hey, be sure you only eat half of that." And I was like, "Well, this isn't good." And so Great Balls of Fire starts. for those who don't know, for some godforsaken reason, they put a 30-minute Iron Man match between the Hardy Boys and Sheamus and Cesaro on that show. And that's kind of like, it's percolating during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then comes Lexi All Caps and Sasha Banks, their match. And at this point, like I'm feeling like Joey Diaz on any number of Joe Rogan Experience podcasts. I'm just fucking out of my mind. And I'm in the upper deck there, right next to the fucking sound system that hangs down. And Lexi's music hits. And I could feel it in my face. Like it was like reverberating. To the point where, like, during her entrance, it's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So, like, I get up and I go to the main concourse of the American Airlines Center. I walk up to the concession stand. I get 2 hot dogs and 2 bottles of water and just, like, start forcing it down. I'm like, this will help somehow, right? And so, like, I missed that whole match. I came back right as Sasha's doing the Meteora off the announce table or whatever. It was momentarily terrifying, especially during Alexa's entrance. But the good news was, sobered up by the time the main event came around, and I got to enjoy Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar for, I think it's safe to say, the only time that'll ever happen.
I mean, yeah, I presume, but you know, in this business. Yeah.
But to your point, Joe, and we're going to have many stories of friendship, I believe, along the way here this evening. And, you know, I think back to All Out in Chicago a few years ago and how fun that was. But if you just, like, you know, the gun to the head scenario, like a treasured live wrestling memory that you have, I'm going to go back to, and I may have told this story before, so you'll forgive me if I have, but the first Ring of Honor show that was a non-WrestleMania weekend show in Texas. They ran a show in San Antonio at in June or July of 2013 at the Shriner Hall. It was this piece of shit venue, man. But the main event they ran was Jay Briscoe versus Davey Richards for the Ring of Honor World Championship. And the rest of that show is kind of funny because it was like Ray Rowe got a tryout match on that. And of course, he's become one of the War Raiders. And I think Athena got a match on the undercard of that. Maybe Keith Lee too. But
that would make sense because Athena was doing some stuff around that time with them, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Jay Briscoe and Davey Richards were in the main event, and the crowd was kind of like half hardcore Ring of Honor fans and half, like, a lot of local promotion was done. So it was like, let's go see the wrestling. And there were a few folks in our section that, like, halfway through the show just really, really wanted a test of strength. And they started just chanting for, like, a test of strength during every match. And of course, me and my asshole friends catch on to this. We're like, all right, we're going to get a goddamn test of strength out of one of these matches. And then, so it doesn't really come to pass at any point. And so Davey and Jay come out for the main event, and I'm not kidding you. They work a match around a test of strength. Like, they come out, and the whole opening act of the match is them, you know, hitting the rope, shoulder block, neither backs down, and then one of them challenges to a test of strength, and then the other one, like, does a drop toe hold or whatever, to the point where they build up to the first test of strength they actually lock in. Like, the play, like, I'm talking Ring of Honor banging on the signs, like, people are just going nuts while Jay and Davey are in the ring locked in a test of strength. And then they build to this spot in the match where they do a test of strength on the outside of the ring to, like, you know, see who the tougher guy is. And then it comes back around towards the end where they're in the match, and they break it out one last time and the crowd goes nuts. And then for some reason, they just decide to go fucking batshit for, like, the last 5 minutes of the match. Davey does the homicide tope con hilo where he flies into the 5th row of the crowd, like, wipes out like 3 rows of people. And like, the closing sequence is nuts. And then Jay hits the Jay Driller, of course, and wins. And, you know, Davey, LOL, do what you want. But, like, that's an immediate memory I go to as something, because to me, that's kind of like I've seen so many incredible things live in wrestling, but so is the world. And that was one of those things that I don't know how many people watched that show because it wasn't streaming or anything. I think they sold a DVD, but that's, like, when you think of live wrestling, and at this point in the game, for me, that's like it's the uniqueness of it that is what I kind of cling to.
Right, because if you go to a stadium show, and you listed some, you can have an incredible experience at a stadium show. We will be clear about that. But there is a different atmosphere when you're in a small room that, frankly, isn't a particularly attractive building. and it's just a match that's in those small confines. That's a magical thing, no doubt about it. Okay, very, very nice. Kaden Lee, I sense you've had a very different wrestling experience in your time than Trey and Alex. Many, I presume. Where would your mind go first if I said to you, one wrestling memory you saw live? Go for it.
Yeah, mine goes to Los Angeles, 2023. Well, Inglewood, SoFi Stadium. I flew out. I went with my dad and my stepmom out to Los Angeles, and I had a bunch of friends who were going. So we, I went to the show with some friends, and it was night one. My friend, so I'm in the third match. I forgot what the third match was for that show.
You were in the match?
Yeah, I was in the match.
Running.
I think it was like the women's tag. Yeah, I'm in the match. I'm hitting my comeback, and my friend texts me, and she says, I'm messaging with my friend about the show, and she goes, "Oh, I'm not even there yet." Like, what do you mean? We were 3 matches into a 7-match card. You're in Inglewood. Like, it's gonna take you an hour to get here. What do you mean you're not here? And she goes, "I don't know. I'm not here." And so she ended up eventually. I texted her. I said, if you let me know if you don't end up coming, I would like your seat, because I knew she had a floor seat. And she eventually does get to the show, but then she ends up sitting with other people. So I do end up taking her floor seat, which is how I've talked about the Charles Robinson story, which is where this comes in, where I made Charles Robinson's wife and family laugh at my Charlotte Flair jokes during Charlotte and Rhea.
Which, the fact that you immediately outed them that way so many times in the air is wrong. And you should also make clear these were not deeply problematic jokes. You should clarify.
No. They were not problematic. I forgot what they even were, but they were not problematic. It was just funny. So I end up getting ringside. But for me, the reason this is special, so I got down there like as Charlotte was coming out for her entrance, but and that match rules. But what made it special for me was getting to see Sami Zayn, being on the floor for Sami Zayn making his entrance to main event at WrestleMania. Is like probably my favorite live wrestling moment of all time. I'm not religious, so I can't sit here and say yes, like I'm a Muslim. I'm not. I am ethnically Muslim. So it's a little different, but still like getting to see that representation for me was just like, it's one of those moments where it'll always sit with me. I didn't get to stay the entire match down on the floor. I had to leave at a certain point to get back to my normal seat so I could get out quickly, which sucks. I hate that I had to do that. But yeah, it's immediately where my brain goes whenever I think about a live experience moment. It's not anything like, there's like a lot of my experiences are not like, they're not crazy stories. As Moxley's playing with my medicine bags, there's no crazy stories. It's all just stuff that emotionally sits with me and makes me very happy. And that's one where, it's just a special moment for me personally that I know a lot of people have similar feeling. Like, I know a lot of people are very happy to see Sammy. I know there's a lot of people who are in a similar situation as me who are Muslim.
We've lost him.
Brother.
We've lost Brad.
Underwater.
Contrarian Alex, you were not at that show, but you were at night 2, right? You weren't at night 1, were you?
No, I was not. And not to cut you off, Kaden, and I certainly can't claim to have the the representation attachment to it, but
you can.
He looks like it, to be fair. I think he's
so I went to night 2 in LA, and for night 1 I was kind of sowing my wild oats and I was having myself a time in Los Angeles, but I made a point to get back to the hotel room for the tag team main event in 2007 or 8. When I was in college, I worked on a handful of shows, and by worked on, I mean it helped with like flyers and like shit like that, and running bottles of water to wrestlers and stuff. And one of the tasks I was assigned for one of the shows was it ran in Denton, and a guy named El Generico wrestled on the show, and I had to drive him back to his hotel after the show in Dallas. And he looked a lot like a guy named Sami Zayn, but I remember like just driving down 35, and he popped for the George Bush Turnpike, when we turned on to it. He goes,
I fucking pumped for that too.
Yeah, the
I
fucking George
pumped
Bush
for that
turnpike
too.
in North Dallas. God
he-
bless.
he's like, he like pointed, he looked at me, he's like, the George Bush Turnpike. It's like, and it was, the drive from Denton to Dallas is half hour, 45 minutes, depending on how fast you're going. And it's kind of funny and timely also. The entirety of that drive, we talked about two things: Oasis and Super Dragon. That's what we talked about the entire time.
Of
And
course.
I dropped him off at his hotel, and I was like, "Take care, brother." And it was kind of just like that. And I was fucking 20, 21, and then so like all those years later, it's like, all right, I got to watch this happen. This guy main event. So I just sat like literally on the edge of my bed in my hotel room watching that main event, and it's what's Brad Pitt saying, Moneyball, how can you not be romantic about baseball? And that's kind of one of those moments that was like that. But yeah, night
Incredible
two
match too. They tore the house
Oh,
down. Go for it.
yeah.
Go with night two, Alex. Go for it.
I mean, there's a lot to be said, and I'm finally over it because the rights were wronged, or the wrongs were righted, I should say. But the atmosphere for that first Cody Roman match was pretty fucking epic, dude.
Electric.
Great match, by the way.
Yeah.
From a performance point of view, I think like that is in some ways Roman's crown jewel. I think the first Brock match is right there with it, but he's incredible in that Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
That first Cody Rhodes match.
They're very different beasts. Poor pun there, but that you're referring to like the 31 match with Brock, right?
Yes. Yeah.
There is an anger in Roman's performance in that match that he never got back, because obviously from the fan revolt, and then obviously he's not going to win and everything. There is a fire in his performance in that match. The first thing he does is he runs at Brock and punches him in the face. God, that match so good. But yeah, to your point, as a performer, I think that first Cody match is about as good as he'll ever do.
Alex, I wonder for you, whenever that match started, whenever the Roman and Cody match started, and we saw how much, like what time it was at night, did you and the people around you just kind of settle in and go, "Oh, this is gonna be an hour"?
It was kind of like at that point in the show, I had already got my money's worth because Shane McMahon blew his quad out. So I was like, that's probably one of my favorite moments. That ruled. that is one of the most surreal things I have ever seen. I talked about it on our Shane Grin Grappler, but it was just like I just sat there like I could not emote. I was just, it was unreal. I don't remember. So I think the highest compliment I could pay that Cody Roman match is that when it started, I put my phone in my pocket and I didn't take it back out until the match was over.
Yeah. That was, like the old heads, the busted open crew, the way they talk about main event wrestling, like slow it down, make it matter, all of the cliches. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes brought them to life for that one night. Like it honestly felt like a main event from yesteryear. It was special, definitely. And I think now that the finish has been remedied, even though it was a lazy finish regardless with Solo, it's still, I think you can kind of be more positive in reflecting upon it. Bob O'Neill, a couple questions for you.
Yep.
Firstly, if someone's enjoying this, how can they show us that? And then what would be your favorite live wrestling experience?
Yeah, if you're having a good time so far, you go ahead and smash that like button.
Phoned it in again. Phoned it in.
I got to come up with some new stuff, man. I got to get in the lab. Got to get in the lab. I think, everyone's talking about WrestleMania. I'm just going to start with the one WrestleMania I've been to. Listen, I've talked about 35 quite a bit. It wasn't the best night, but Kofi beating Bryan is one of those all-time moments that, I am glad I was there for. And then, to bookend that, I was actually there when Bryan beat Styles for the title on SmackDown because I was in St. Louis, because they switched it to not do Styles Brock again. So I kind of saw both sides of the title reign, and that was always pretty cool.
Did it rain at 35?
So as the main event was ending, going back to the car it was, and then once we got in the car, it was raining, but besides that, not really. And it was actually pretty warm too.
How many months did it take you to get out?
I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, it took about 90 minutes, but I wasn't waiting for a train either all night, so.
So it was really useful that an article was written 6 months later about how hard it was to go out of the
It was very helpful. Yeah.
It's, rain's inevitable when you're in there for that long, right? It's just it has to happen at some point. You've been in there for weeks and months on end. But
2019 WWF, rains is inevitable.
Yes, there you go. WrestleMania is a weird beast. I felt the need after the tragedies of what happened in 2018 to try and And I did come out of this year much more positive, but I'm also at a different point in my life. So, like, when Travis Scott came out, I was just laughing uproariously, and my brother was quite upset that Dwayne didn't show up, and I thought it was very funny. So, I mean, I had more fun this year. Alex, you and I had a good time too, but WrestleMania is it isn't really a wrestling show in Australia. I mean, obviously, you can have great matches, but it's a different thing, right? Yeah.
It's not what you would think it's intended for anymore. It's not.
Because it's not intended for what we want it to be anymore, and that sucks.
I will never forget. Yeah. Look, none of us cared a ton about that New Day War Raiders match. They were on second, and people still just got straight up and left. Like, on second at Mania. Like, you think people would just go, it's wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, there's no pre-show. It's the second match. Just stood up and left. Like, it's just a different beast now. You honestly can't just do wrestling matches on WrestleMania anymore. You can't. Like, the people don't. Yeah.
That's almost why I can't, like, in a way, just for this, I can't blame WWE for doing, like, the 5-match pay-per-view cards that they do for the live audience, because, like, just get what they want to see on there, like, from an entertainment standpoint. Like, it's not about the wrestling matches anymore. Like, they know their live crowds aren't going to sit there and want to see a second or third match and be like, oh, I wonder if this is going to be good. Like, oh, this should be good. No, they just want to see their viral shit, and
especially in a stadium. Yeah, it's a weird beast. Definitely a challenging thing.
In many ways, that's kind of why I hold that 28, that Rock Cena show, so dear, because it really feels like that was the last, like, this is a goddamn pro wrestling match that we're building the show around. And after that, it just kind of 30 was a miracle because of happenstance. 30 came together the way it did because things went wrong.
30 is also different because it was less about, honestly, it had nothing to do with a wrestling match. It was about his particular story, right? It was about Brian.
We want Cross.
The story, that's why. Oh, it's funny because I was like, that's why, like, when people ask me for all the wrestling I've watched in my life and everything I've seen, like, when people ask me who's the greatest professional wrestler of all time, and I say Bryan Danielson, the thing I point to is that in 2014, that son of a bitch had an entire WrestleMania built around him, which 2014 was impossible to do. Like, he had such a stranglehold on that company that he wasn't even supposed to be a blip on the radar in, that it forced Triple H to make himself have a match with him and lose.
Arguably his best singles match ever, too.
And, great match.
Like, that's why when people, like, what puts Brian, I point to that, I'm like, for all the things Brian has done to warrant being called the greatest professional wrestler of all time, what I point to primarily is that WrestleMania. I'm like, because it was built around him.
Yeah.
Jack, I say.
Then I'm convinced to this day that Vince was so petty. That's why he ended the Undertaker streak.
I would believe that. But Jack, I say all the time when I do these that, like, us old fuckers, fans today just kind of accept anything happening. Like, the analogy I always use is, like, and if in 2 months Will Ospreay wrestles Roman Reigns on a WWF pay-per-view, people will just be like, yeah, they just kind of accept everything to happen. But, like, back in those days, the idea of, like, even as, like, in 2012, like, oh, in 2 years, Bryan Danielson's going to main event WrestleMania and win the world title. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
It's because of the space between everything, dude. That's what it is. Everything now, like, I was saying this earlier, but, and this obviously is relevant to what we're doing here. Like, I saw the top guys in New Japan work UK shows in front of 400 or 500 people, and the gap felt mad. Now, it's like a blur, right? Because the fans are so tapped in. Like, you can see guys show up, Mr. Iguana working SmackDown. It's like, yeah, I guess, Like, it's weird now, man. Everything's kind of blurred.
It's very, very fucking strange.
Yeah, very, very interesting indeed.
The button on that is, that's one of those shows I remember, like, I can still feel my stance when Brian hit the knee and put Batista in the label lock. I stood up and, like, I'm doing it right now. Like, I remember how my feet, I planted into the ground, and I literally balled my fist at my side, and I screamed, "Tap out, you motherfucker!" And then when he tapped out, the guy in front of me turned around and just, like, lunged at me for a hug, and it was a good moment. Or
the other one that sticks in my mind that, like we're talking about shows, we were in attendance for. One I wish I was. I wish I was. Like, just because Alex brought up the imagine telling someone the night Kevin Steen beat John Cena clean.
I was there.
First name, you son of. But now, Alex, imagine telling someone 3 or 4 years before that Kevin Steen is not only going to go to WWE, he's not only going to be there, but his first main roster match, he's going to beat John Cena clean as a whistle. You'd go, get the fuck out of here.
And the craziest part about it, too, is I've told the story, is like over half the crowd still didn't know who Owens was. Like, because, he'd only been on TV for 2 weeks at that point in Corpus. And, like, people were just, like, gobsmacked. And I'm there hooting and hollering like a goddamn idiot.
I would have lost my goddamn mind. Because I remember how I was at the house when that happened. When he pinned him, I was losing. I was like, "There's no fucking way they just did that."
Yeah, it was crazy. That was a happening, definitely, and that kind of set the stage for his career, which has been an insane main roster run. I think recently there was a thing about I think we just passed like 11 years since he signed. I think.
Wow.
Yep.
It's insane.
That's so crazy.
All-time run, if we're being honest, right? Like,
but again, like that.
Run.
Because I think we ended up finding out that it was John's idea to bring him up because John was just so sick of working with this. Like, John saw Kevin and was like, bring him up.
That's different. It was definitely different. And I think, they obviously...
Has he won every title they have?
So it depends how you look at the world belts, right? Like, he's won a world belt, but they're all split.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's still not the universal title.
Right, exactly, yeah. But he's won a top title. He's won the IC, the US, the tags. So... to me, yes. To answer the question. In my personal record book, he's
done all right for himself, yeah.
Yeah, he's done fine. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Novi, where do you go on this one? If I just say to you, live wrestling memories, go for
Fucking LeBron Cazone's about to come up.
Listen,
wait,
if that's what comes up, that's what comes up. That's the whole point of this program.
Wait until later, bro. Wait until later. It's a long show we got ahead of us. Many would think that I would bring up a certain show from recent. It will not be the show that I talk about now. I'm sure there'll be a moment for that. I'm throwing all the way back to my first ever wrestling show that I attended live in 2021. Wow. It was AEW Fight for the Fallen. It was a named Dynamite episode. It was at the Bojangles Coliseum.
Right. Is this the 10-man tag show?
It's at the Bojangles Coliseum. And
I know what moment he's going to, though.
Waiting outside, terribly hot. Let me tell you, terribly hot. And this is the first time I've ever been around like a wrestling crowd or anything. Everyone chanted, "Let us in," because it was so hot, and they waited 30 minutes after the time. Terrible experience. Walk in, and the first matchup, obviously there was some dark stuff. Don't remember it at all. But the first match that I really remember was, of course, the Elite, which was Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. Right. Versus Adam Page and the Dark Order in the famous 5-on-5. They come out in the Toon Squad gear, the Elite do, the iconic Dark Order entrance where they leave a spot for Brody at the end of it. And honestly, it's just such a cool match because, like, obviously I loved AEW. That's fucking awesome. I loved AEW for a long time, and of course Hangman was my favorite. Always has been, always will be. And getting to see him come out in such a prominent spot, getting to see Kenny for the first time, just something I'll just never forget. I remember just jumping up and down, screaming, just being so excited to see Hangman for the first time. And that show, the middle is less remembered of that broadcast. It's not the most. Hikuleo was on it at some point.
Oh my god, it was that episode.
Was that Hikuleo and Moxley?
It was Hikuleo and Lance Archer in 7 minutes.
Because Archer beat Moxley the week before.
Who the fuck is Hikulea?
Talatonga.
Oh, okay.
He came out with King Haku that night.
He's getting a big shove up in New York Blue, brother.
Yeah, it was a long wrestling road. 4 years later, but the main event of that show is the second labor of Jericho, a no rules match between Chris Jericho and Nick Gage.
Nice.
Just fuck. That was wild.
That match is unbelievably iconic. Remember now the Domino's pizza ad that got them fucked over with advertisers because Nick Gage decided to bring out a pizza cutter during one of their ads. They have the infamous like glass pane spot where I think it was, I don't remember if it was Jericho or it was Gage, but one of them takes a Rana off the top, goes directly through it. I have a video of me screaming very loud about this because it was just incredible visual. Yeah, that show was a pretty special one for the first ever experience, first ever dip into it.
So I mentioned this recently, and this is a really good way. If you care about how good the creative is for promotion, I think a really quick and easy way to assess it is how many guys on a roster are doing better than they would if you just like auto booked them. Like if you just took your hands off the wheel and just see where it took you. How many guys are overperforming? And I used an example of like WWE a couple years ago, when they were really in rhythm. You looked at someone like Damian Priest, and he was like, how are they getting this out of Damian Priest? With all respect, he was like a main event guy for them for a minute.
Yeah.
AEW 2021 was such a hot commodity that everything Novi just said there is correct. Like the Dark Order that was a major happening, dude, when he came out of the Dark Order. And you look back on that now, with all respect to those fellows, that is kind of crazy to reflect on, right? But it was real. I mean, if anyone who watched that knows that was a moment in time for AEW, definitely. Yeah. And Nick Gage, my goodness.
Crazy to think about now.
That was the first post-COVID show I went to. Was the they call it
Fighter Fest? It was Fighter Fest. It was the first week of Fighter Fest.
The first match I saw in a building after COVID was fucking John Moxley against Carl Anderson, as God intended.
A lot of Good Brothers stuff going on here.
I almost put that show on the list, Alex. I almost put the Darby Ego match on the list.
That dude, Darby and Ego was nuts, right? Didn't Darby almost die 4 times in that match or something like that? I mean,
that rules.
My goodness.
Right, they did a obviously you did like the Dark and Elevation tapings around that time. I don't know if it says they're taped on the same night. Apparently there was 11 matches for Dark taped that night. Yeah, and there were 6 for Elevation. So
marathon tapings at AEW, I can't imagine.
Yeah, we'll do this now.
I kind of miss now. In the group chat, our buddy confirmed shoot trying to fucking guys. I'm fucking watching Elevation. Are you watching Elevation right now? It's like no, you are totally watching this right now. It's like you gotta see this fucking match.
I miss
send the match graphic, and Jack would he was polite enough to kind of go, oh cool, and eventually Matt realized and was like, Jack, you've never watched this show, have you? Jack was like, nope, I have not. I will never watch it.
JJ brought up the one time where we were in the AEW zone at Universal where we watched 52 matches in one day.
That is psychotic.
There was one day where it was the last taping they ever did at Dark, so I knew it was gonna be the last taping. So I was in Austin visiting my family, but I had to be there, so I flew in that morning to Orlando. I flew out that night immediately after the show. I was by the time they got to the last match, I think I had been up for about 32 hours straight.
Good God,
I went delusional.
I'll never forget because we throw at Chicago so much, we probably won't go over it too much. But I remember saying to Alex, they're going to take Ring of Honor after Collision. And he was like, how long does that go? I was like, probably about 2 hours.
Oh,
and he popped, and I just thought, oh, he ain't got no idea what's ahead of him, bro. Like, it was a shoot 2 hours, just grabs, just guys coming out having cold matches.
I've been to a decent amount of Collision tapings now because they run Charlotte a lot. God bless the lads, the FTR boys. Yeah. And I've walked out of 2 ROH tapings, and both times, no disrespect, I walked out when Layla Hirsch's music hit because I was about an hour and a half into each of those. Bro, I like Layla Hirsch and all. I was about an hour and a half into the show, and they kept telling me one more match, guys, one more match.
Yeah, they do that. They go one more match.
It's just
kept going, dude.
I remember Claudio having a match, and legitimately, Alex and I just popping. There was a whole side of the arena just dead empty. You could have gone home.
The 2 matches
I left halfway through.
The matches that I missed on both those tapings, the main event of these 2 tapings, were Metalik versus Tony Nese and Shane Taylor versus Gravity.
Oh, baby.
Oh, man, it could have been worse. What was the... What was it? Gravity, Alex, fucked something up, and it was dead silent. I should have checked if this made it to the cut. But Gravity, fell on his own head on a Rana, and it was dead silent, and Alex just... Boo! No one else made any sound. It was just...
That happening at the United Center, too, makes it even more bad.
Oh, yeah.
Look, that's what's calling out. Half the people on this show were at the. We were there. We were there when Tony Khan made the address about firing CM Punk.
That was a
Yeah.
happening. The only regret I have is that you weren't on the floor for that part. Because remember, you joined us up later, like, on the
Yeah,
stand.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because that was like a
Alex,
surreal moment, dude.
Alex,
I'll
where were
never-
you on the
I'll
floor
never
for that?
forget you guys texting me that night.
Yeah, it was crazy.
What's up, Caden?
Where were you on the floor? that night?
Like third or fourth row, because like that for me,
On what-
that
What side?
I fucking if you're facing the ramp, I was on the left side, and
Okay,
so
you
like,
and me.
dude, like, oh, you were there too in Chicago?
I was fourth row on the hard cam side of the ring.
Okay, yeah. So like, I was right by the entranceway, and yeah, that trip came together very last minute for me. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just buy a floor seat. But we got there, they just had a fucking a chair unfolded in the middle of the fucking entranceway, like Clint Eastwood was about to come out and yell at it. Like, and then Tony Khan walks out, and people just like, boo.
Boo!
There's a whole episode from that time you can go research, but the whole like the comedy of that day is we're all hanging out, and then we're all like, all right, everyone go do their own thing. We'll get ready and we'll reconvene and we'll go over to the United Center. And during the like half hour that we were apart, the news broke that CM Punk was fired from AEW. And so when I saw Shoot again, I was like, hey, did I miss anything? You know, I had to make that joke. But yeah, we got there and like Tony's just getting booed maliciously. Cuts this insane promo that like Howard Dean would watch and be like, God damn, brother. And like,
Doesn't he start the promo by going like, I know.
It was like
he sits down. The part I remember is that he's sitting at the beginning.
Yeah.
And he's doing the thing where his eyes are closed, and he's like, you know, I didn't know what I was going to say when I come out here. And then eventually he gets to the line that I was in fear for my safety, and that's when people are like, all right, fuck you, boo, boo.
Yeah.
And he stands up out of the chair and he goes, no, and he starts wagging his finger like Hogan on a
The
comeback.
thing that I was struck by, because Tony Khan is many things. A natural pro wrestling promo is not one of them. But he somehow willed it in the right direction. Alex, do you remember the shift that
I
happened in the video?
respected. I really respected his because like that was still a time where WWE was so like non-transparent, and like for Tony to sit out there and take that shit.
He just sort of faced it.
And then just be like, no, here I am. I own this place. Here's what happened. And like, you're booing me. Fuck you. Like, here's the.
It kind of turned in his favor, Alex. Right? Like,
It
kind
did.
of.
Yeah, when he left, he was like, "We're gonna have a great weekend of wrestling." It was like smattered. It was there were still people that were mad, but like he won some people over with that. The main thing I remember was when we got to the building. I wasn't with y'all, but we sat down, and before even Tony came out, this real like fucking tepid Colt Cabana chant started, and then it kind of caught on. And Matt texted me, "Fucking Bob."
Another great moment from that night that sticks with me forever was when I think the main event was Dax and Jay White, right? It was the TV main
It
event.
was a good match, yeah.
And Cash Wheeler flashing this like Punk had died like in the
Oh,
last
yeah.
week, you know?
Oh yeah.
People were so that's how heated this. People were so angry about that, and it was like that was hilarious, dude.
Yeah, people screenshotted it and it was going
Isn't
around.
that because the Bucks, and that's also the same show that the Bucks do the victory lap.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
it
they
was
sure
an infamous
do.
night at the United Center.
And I mean, and we got it's natural progression. There were two matches that happened the next night of the pay-per-view that were, in my opinion, from what I've seen, all-time AEW matches, with the strap match with old Absolute Rick and Danielson, and I haven't watched as much as y'all, and with the exception of the recent Texas Death match, I'd venture as far to say is that Orange Cassidy match is some of Moxley's best post-WWF work.
Definitely.
I think you could argue just individual showing wise. I think Alex, you've been in attendance for Moxley's career best efforts in some ways. To be honest, with the Hangman match and the Orange match, he was a demon.
And the Brock
that
match.
night in
He was
Chicago.
unbelievable in that night.
Yeah.
He was. I was thinking about this a lot because I've actually been really lucky, and like there's very few wrestlers I like that I haven't been able to see live, which I'm very, very fortunate to say that. Thinking about it a lot, there was a couple things that kind of I ended up circling as highlights. But my first show I want to talk about, a little bit of an unusual one probably to reference. But it's the show that I remember most vividly from a sort of an occasion, you know, a night out, which is what wrestling's and any kind of this stuff is supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be a night out, maybe a social thing, whatever you're doing. I was set to go to Royal Quest 2022, night 2.
Oh.
I was supposed to go. This before they announced any matches. I was headed to night 2. The FTR were going to be on the show. I was very excited. Night 2, I'll be there. And of course, naturally, they announced Aussie Open versus FTR will be on night 1. Night 1 was a no-go for my brother and I. It did not really work for our schedules. Also, I think there was something where, like, our train line was down. Or so. There was some reason it was, like, a really long way to get to the show in Crystal Palace, which is a show that the kids have probably heard, the young guns have probably heard Chuck and I complain about getting there because it's a bizarre building. And I was like, look, bro, I know you don't know the fuck Aussie Open are, and I know you don't really care. We got to go night 1. we have to go night 1. We cannot tempt fate. This match is going to be awesome. We have to go to night 1. And so we did it on a whim. We decided we we're going to go night 1. And I remember vividly, we had to take this bus route that was like round. It felt like you were going somewhere you shouldn't. You know, it was like round every which corner. Then to get into the venue, we had to do a full loop of a park for some reason. I assume we did something wrong. I don't know. I've never asked Chuck about that. Then you get to the building, and it's like a sports center. You walk through the door, you give the brother your ticket. There is a swimming pool to your right. That's how strange this building was. It's like a sports leisure center. There's a swimming pool, and there's sort of bleachers that you just sort of sit down, you know, wherever. It was a fascinating vibe. And my favorite thing about the show, and the reason I'm like romantic about this memory and this show is, I think in an era now, more and more the Super Show is everything now, right? It's about stacking the card and multiple main events. I was there that night because I was already got night 2. I was there that night to see FTR and Aussie Open. And the rest of that show was booked entirely in line with that. I'm going to do this very quickly. Opening match, 9 minutes. Second match, 12. 6. 14 minutes. That was a 6-man with Naito and Hiromu and Suzuki Gun. So Zack Sabre Jr. in a 14-minute 6-man. Zack Knight was booked. They can't all be winners. By the way, listen to this match. Okada and Ishii versus Bad Dude Tito and Zack Knight, 12 minutes. I mean, this is undercard wrestling. This is undercard wrestling.
My God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
8-man tag. Hikuleo, Jado, and Tamatonga with Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on Gedo, Jay White, and the Good Brothers. A tight 12 minutes from the lads. 2.5. Great stuff. This is how unique this show was, boys. Will Ospreay wrestled Shota Umino, and they went 15 minutes on that show. 15, which for Will Ospreay is like a fella clocking in at 3 minutes. It would be
no shit, man.
And then it was time. FTR Aussie Open. They crossed half an hour. I believe it was a Dave. Yeah, it was a Dave 5. FTR at that point had wrestled 2 of the Briscoe matches. So this was like their year. 2022 was their best year of their career, right? And I was so happy to see... I'd seen FTR before, but I was so happy to see them have like one of those matches, you know, one of those signature FTR matches. I remember Dax doing the Shawn Michaels... you know how Shawn got juice in the Cell match where he's going to get catapulted by Taker and he runs it and then fucking bumps? Dax the Axe did that on like a steel fucking thing holding the lighting up.
Nice.
And I remember just thinking, this is everything I love about wrestling. Small room, 1,000, 2,000 people in there, a main event built, like a show that built to the main event, and that was what the night was about. A tag title match main eventing for that matter. The thing about it that's interesting is that Kyle Fletcher is probably going to become this sort of signature singles wrestler, and I never at the time would have told you that. I was just there to see FTR beat up the Australian fellas. So, yeah, that was an insane bit, by the way. But anyway, I think of Royal Quest, Night 1, really a tremendous night. And then, like, going home was brutal. And you know a night of wrestling was great when the trip home was excruciating. You don't even regret it. You know, you're like, fuck, I had to do it. Bro.
That's the best.
Oh, yeah.
Had to be there for that. Let's look at the chat. Guys, give your own memories and experience. I want to go through these as we go. I love this. I remember a 1999 WCW house show I went to. A man had a sign that read, "Hack Waxy's Sack." I was in the concession stand with Billy Kidman and trying to start a Great Britain chant for Chris Adams.
Yes! The gentleman.
Dude, some of these lineups they run out there on these house shows that the boys didn't want to make were just spectacular, weren't they? Just full-on Saturday night tapings, basically, for the house. Superb.
Was it 98 or 99 that Hogan did that one in Quebec where he lost by roll-up to Jacques?
Who lost to Jacques?
Yeah. I saw a clip, too, of him recently. Like, him and Sting did a house show cage match.
That's a famous one.
Yeah.
Was that the one they tried to, like, do the radio broadcast of on WCW.com? There was a couple of those things that, like, I don't know if it's Jeremy Borash, but maybe Mark Madden. Someone tried to spearhead like the advent of streaming.
And Joe, it was Hogan hanging from the cage.
Yes, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I saw that too.
And I think it was Elliot on Twitter was like, "This is the actual Sting Hogan match," but it wasn't televised because a lot of their TV stuff is, it's what it is.
Get what you get.
Tyler here. I had the opposite edible experience watching Ospreay and Omega at Forbidden Door in Toronto. Pure euphoria.
Wow.
Can you imagine watching Bill Ospreay do his match? On
Dude,
edibles?
that was me this year at the WrestleMania we went to. I struck like one of the most perfect levels I ever have of adult candy. And like during that women's triple threat match, I was just like on another plane having the time of my life. And low one, so it was the greatest shit in the world, man.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Tyler. Rude Awakening. Nothing will ever top Sting's retirement for me. My favorite wrestler, my entire life, going out victorious in a blaze of glory as champion, an instant classic of a match. Novi, you were there for this. Kaden, were you there for this too? Or,
Yeah.
Yes. Novi, you go first. Sting, Revolution, confirmed shoot in the building too. What a moment.
Yeah, I never thought that I would ever get a wrestling like pay-per-view near me. I just didn't think it was going to be possible, and then obviously everything came together to make this one an experience that was available. I think it was like Greensboro was like an hour away from Charlotte, so the drive was nothing. I remember getting in line far too early because I was just so excited to be there, getting to my seats, freaking out that I was even in the building for this, taking pictures of all the graphics on the screen. This is the first night that I'd ever seen Bryan Danielson wrestle. One of my favorites of all
Great
time.
match, by the way. Great
Fantastic match. That's the first time I ever saw a Will Ospreay wrestle. One of my favorites of all time as well. Incredible live experience. Obviously capped off by the main event with the retirement. I don't have necessarily a reverence for Sting in the same way many do. I don't have that kind of history with me. But getting to be in that building and seeing the faces around me and seeing all the people walking out, chanting his name. I remember people crying. There were so many Sting like paints all scattered throughout the crowd. It was just a beautiful moment. And I obviously love the Bucks, and I love their performance in that match. Darby takes one of the craziest bumps to ever happen in professional wrestling that I got to see too. I saw it from a great angle too. Like it was on my side and I could see him fall. I could see him go down, saw the blood come up. It was incredible moment. Incredible. Never forget that.
Like Novi, to put it in perspective and show my age, like one of my first memories as a little kid, I'd be 4. I remember watching that Sting Flair match at Clash of Champions on TV when I was a little kid, the one they put up against WrestleMania 4. So yeah, I was 4 years old. I remember watching that. So like, I am incredibly jealous that you got to, because like I've literally watched Sting just about from start to finish. So I am incredibly jealous that you got to experience that.
And it's certainly the peak of AEW in terms of like nailing the presentation.
Got everything right for retirement. Everything right. They made it feel huge. The show was built around that moment, that match.
No matter what, Tony Khan has his positives, negatives. I will never knock the guy for the way he treated Sting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
And even for Sting wanting to Sting never lost in AEW. And there were troll accounts and all that. No, like Tony Khan was like, no, you are not fucking losing. You're gonna wrestle all these matches, and even your retirement, you're going out a winner.
Well, the thing is, Sting's a superhero, bro. People don't want to see him lose.
Yeah.
Kind of on the kind of more warped end of that, and I'm infinitely jealous that Novi and Kaden were at that show. My buddy Brody, who lives in DFW, Sting's his favorite wrestler of all time. He did one of those, flew in the day, and then the next morning, he actually was on Sting's flight, and he got to talk to him before the match.
Wow.
Yeah, so I know how much that meant to him, so I was really happy for him. But kind of is like, for the subject du jour here, he lost, which is sad, but I still take it as a feather in my cap that I was live for the one and only time Sting wrestled for the WWF Championship.
Yeah.
When he wrestled in Houston. Yeah. I think that because I have the T-shirt that says like Sting wrestling for the WWF Championship and all that, so I think that's
he should have fucking won that night. There was no harm in it on him.
Fucking
for a
Seth,
week. fucking.
Yeah, but they would have
rough,
had to
and
come
it
up
was
with.
small arm doing that.
They would have had to come up
And
with
it's
a
funny
finish
because
quick in that
like
case.
that was Seth's second match of the night too. So
Mhm.
you had a built-in excuse for Sting to take that title from him.
Does anyone on this call remember that the gimmick of that show they stole from the Ring of Honor show that was happening the same weekend, where Jay Lethal had to defend his title twice in one
TV
night?
title.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
'cause
people
Jay
were like,
had
"What the
both
fuck?"
belts, Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Caden, anything you want to add on the Sting front before we move on here? Because we have many to get to. But anything?
Yeah, like we all know that I'm good friends with Steve.
Yeah.
It was nice to be able to watch his last match.
Yeah.
We texted after. I sent him my well wishes.
Oh, Steve.
Good. But no, like I don't really. That was a fun time. Like I'm very glad that I got to go to Revolution. I got to make the trip to Greensboro. I don't have anything like super special from that show.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a nice time.
Look at this. Been to many Saints games in the Dome. Brian winning was the loudest I've heard the Dome when I've attended events there. I mean, that's what you're saying, doesn't it? Here's
Saints
one.
games,
Little
so,
studio pop from our brother JJ. Never forget how the roof blew off Full Sail for Cowboy James Storm. That was what a fascinating chapter of just the 2-match run that James Storm had. My goodness.
Rednecks.
Indeed.
Well, hey, think about that James Storm NXT appearances. That theme song was fire, man.
I don't remember because
you guys remember that song?
I don't.
Look
Wasn't
it
it
up.
like, yeah, James
So
Storm.
hype.
Didn't we find out later?
Hey,
that it
remember,
was supposed to be?
I'm the one who pushed for the James Storm Grin Grappler.
We still need to do that. By the
Yeah,
way.
what? You're not fighting people here.
Yeah, we need to do that. That's a good point. Good point.
Before I forget, Joe, do you care if I ask Bobby a question here?
I love when you ask Bob questions. Alex.
Okay, Bob.
What's up?
Was the election stolen? No. So you were also at SummerSlam 2021, and I want to make sure I don't feel crazy about this. I've always kind of thought that Roman Cena match felt kind of big.
Yeah, absolutely. It was weird because it didn't really live up to it. I don't think. Like,
No, the match wasn't great, but like the moment felt kind of.
What happened after the match, Bob?
Yeah, well, not going to talk about that. But yeah, it did. The build was big. The match didn't really deliver, but they built it up really well. Cena was on the house show tour because they were coming out of COVID, so he was working Roman then too, like in the 6-man matches, and yeah, they did a really good job building it up, and it felt like it was going to be a big deal, and they didn't really deliver. But
I also really liked the set for that SummerSlam, how minimal it was. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I was mad that Goldberg didn't get the pyro in his full entrance, and I had to put the Goldberg moment on there because Joe and Jack were on the show with me when I heard that Goldberg was going to be at SummerSlam. I was very excited, and that was a highlight of the night.
Exists. That would be lost, that stream now, right?
Yeah, we were talking about that a couple weeks ago. Like, I don't know if any of that stuff exists anymore.
That was funny because that was when you covered your mouth.
Yeah,
you were so excited.
yeah. So I was fired up to see Goldberg. But yes, I had to include that.
Jack, this is actually so funny. You think about it. This was on Fightful, bro. Right?
Yeah.
So Jeremy's doing his job. Jack, Bob, and I are talking about whoever knows what. And unless I'm mistaken, it was Sean's own report that Bill was going to be the match. So we're doing this on Fightful, right? Jack and I are talking, and Bob just bursts out laughing and covers his mouth in shame and just
like Bob did
yeah, like this. And we were like, what is he talking about? And then Jeremy's popping huge. And we found out this was because Bob realized he was going to see Bill Goldberg live in Vegas.
Joe and I were serious business.
That was funny.
One of the singular biggest regrets of my attending wrestling fandom is that I didn't buy the Sasha Bianca shirt for that show.
Yeah.
Because I was at the fucking Superstore the day before, and it was already like Sasha's not coming. Mercedes.
You should have done that, bro.
Yeah, and I just for the bit I should have, but
that would have been money. Colt sent a super chat. We'll never forget. Piece of shit. We'll never forget being at Unforgiven 98. I was 9. With my friend and his mum, he broke his glasses halfway through, and I had to commentate the Taker Kane Inferno match like I was Jim Ross.
That's awesome.
That reminds me of, this is not related to wrestling at all, but it's my favorite thing I've ever heard about. I think it may have been a post or it may have been a podcast. I forget now. But there was a football story about Tottenham letting a goal in, and suddenly a guy's glasses were launched up in the air and like landed in front of someone. And all I can ever think of is like, think of the choice he's made there. He didn't leave the game. He said, I'm going to sit here and not be able to fucking see what's going on. I'm going to throw my glasses into the sky. Like, I presume he saw it as sort of like a statement, you know, like, this is how bad you guys are. I would rather just sit here and not be able to see than leave the stadium early. He just threw his glasses up in the air. But hopefully that's on a commentate like Colt did. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Wonderful stuff. Jumanji Hunter right there with him. He says, freaking throwing his food in the air after he heard KO is beating Cena. It's a legendary story because he told KO he wouldn't get signed because he was fat. I don't even know this. Do you know this story? Where was this from, Jumanji? I don't know this. I do not know this, but that is a hell of a towel. I mean, even Samoa Joe recently said, did you see that? He was talking about how Jim Ross said to him, like, you're never probably going to get signed in WWE because, you know.
I saw that. I saw that today.
Yeah.
It's such a different time and something that people really probably wouldn't care about anymore. But that whole thing of Steen became like internet sensation and also was making significant money on merchandise as an independent wrestler. That's what caught everybody's attention.
Yeah, that was the kind of an emerging, you know, with Cabana. And Cabana, look, I understand people have their thing with Cabana. He was big in that regard, right? Like the Art of Wrestling podcast was a game changer.
Cabana and Hero were like the indie guys that had merch, and they were telling people like, "Yeah, you should have merch." In.
Yeah, we have merch. Bob, how can people like this video?
You go ahead and smash that like button.
It's not there tonight, Bob. It is not there tonight. Mid takes. Hey fellas, making a YouTube video of the 100 best matches in AEW history. I'm cooked. Maybe I'm not built for this editing thing. What would you guys consider the 3 best matches? Jesus.
That's a very tough question.
Cody Dustin.
Fuck.
Okay, I was gonna say Cody Dustin, but y'all are more educated than me, so there you go.
I think Cody Dustin.
Cody Dustin is number 1 for me, Alex.
It's my number 1. Yeah.
That's number 1.
Yeah.
Fuck. I like the first Anarchy in the Arena a lot. With when Eddie comes out with the fucking, you know, he's covered in blood and he tries to light Chris Jericho on fire.
Roosh and Jake Perry.
Well,
oh yeah, we were there.
Just
was that in Austin?
I was live for that match.
Yeah, so that was at Moody Center.
That was the only time they tried to run Moody Center. They've done,
that was a very funny setup.
Yeah, I remember like before the. Were you there, Kaden?
Yeah.
They have the retractable tarps at the Moody Center, and so they put them down. But
beat the shit out of that kid.
Oh, I was fucking losing my mind during that.
That was crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Well, actually, like
I almost put on my list the Roderick Strong Chris Jericho match from that show because that also was awesome.
That was fun. Yeah.
They went into like the stairway.
Yeah, they went up to I think it's like the Intel Club, maybe is what that one is. I don't know.
What would be the other ones? Novi, Kaden, Karras on this. What would be the other like key candidates?
The Bucks and Lucha Brothers Steel Cage.
Just about to say that one.
Yeah.
You could say the Bucks and Kenny and Hangman.
Yeah.
Bucks
tag.
and Hangman.
What would be Kenny's singles match you'd put forward? Ospreay 2.
It's probably Ospreay 2.
It feels like we're forgetting one with him.
The first Hangman match.
But they won it for Full Gear?
Sorry, the second one, the Full Gear 2021 match.
Oh yeah.
The Danielson match rules.
Danielson match is
there's a lot of Danielson matches you could go for.
Danielson probably should be represented in some form or fashion, to be honest. I mean, Brian just when he first got there, especially, he was just churning out matches. It was outrageous.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Him and Kenny Big Cannons was the only match they had. The TV time limit draw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were supposed to work at All In 2023, and then Danielson got injured.
Sting retirement match deserves some.
Kenny got injured
too.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, good luck with that 20 mid takes. I don't envy you. That sounds like an excruciating task. Good luck when it's done. Send it to us.
Because they personally, Rick and Brian would be up there for me, but that's again.
No, that was incredible live, dude. Because I think the physicality of that live was like, holy shit.
It's unbelievable watching at home. I remember watching that match and just being like, I don't make too much noise like when I'm just by myself like reacting to wrestling, just because but like hearing just the sound of the slaps was just like.
Another one is Hanger and Swerve with the Texas Death is up there.
Oh yeah, easy.
Oh,
Eddie Punk is really
Eddie Punk.
good.
Yeah.
That was great.
Y'all would know more than me, but that was the best Punk match I saw in AEW.
That was awesome.
I'm
Yeah.
so mad we
Probably
never got the rematch. I'm so
The
fucking
only
mad.
the only Punk match that comes close is the first MJF match in Chicago. I think that match is really fucking
The
good.
Dax match is really fucking good too.
I was there.
Dax
Me and
was
Alex were
really
there for that
good.
one.
That match was real. That was like in a weird way. That was kind of his last. Hang on, we're also forgetting. I'll transition to a new live experience. I'm not saying it's his best match, but I think it's the dude Wembley Stadium. Samoa Joe CM Punk.
The
Was,
Samoa
that's-
Joe Punk match.
Yeah.
No, that is my favorite match he had in AEW.
In terms of
dog
a
collar is
single
mine.
moment I've experienced live,
Yeah.
that would be like that may be hard to beat.
Oh, that match
Seeing
was
those
fucking
guys
awesome.
wrestle in a stadium, and also, I don't mean this to CM Punk's obviously CM Punk, but if we're being honest, in that match, Punk basically just gives Joe the floor to do all of his stuff, right? Because he's going home
Yeah.
with the fucking insane attempt at a Pepsi plunge in 2023. Joe is like relishing the atmosphere, man. Like he didn't really do anything on Mania ever. He worked one Mania and it was a 1 minute match. The others he was injured for or missed for circumstance. He's at Wembley Stadium and is just having the time of his life, just having a ball out there. And
Yeah.
I'll always remember that. So yeah, there's a few. Cal here, he's been asking this on every show I've been on. He's been asking if it was favorite dinosaur. I think he may be collecting the results for some sort of tally. So go around the room with this. Favorite dinosaur and women's wrestler. I've already established Luchasaurus as my favorite dinosaur. Kaden Lee, go for it.
I said Velociraptor. I'll stick
You
with
did.
that. Women's wrestler, Mercedes is awesome.
CEO,
Yeah.
Noviak.
Stegosaurus and Chris Statlander.
Oh, baby.
All
Bob.
business.
Barney and Alexa Bliss.
Sick sentence. Awesome. Superb work. Contrarian Alex.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be the Stegosaurus representative here, but Stegosaurus and Bull Nakano, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. How many questions have you answered with those two before,
Yeah.
Jack Crosby, do you have an answer on either of these, mate?
T-Rex and Mercedes.
There you go. What a
No one said Nikisawa.
Nerd.
Sick of the same thing.
Thank you, Cal. All right.
Listen,
We have
Yeah,
another
Nick-
here.
Well, Nikki
listen,
Bella
thanks-
is the heir
thanks,
apparent
Eddie.
to the
Yeah.
Thanks to
Josie Road.
TMC today. You're lucky I didn't say Stephanie McMahon.
well,
Shout out Spurs. Sent a super chat. He said, while not the best live match I've seen, my favorite experience was Shota Jack Perry at Windy City. This was the match where the Chicago crowd, like,
This was godly
Chicago
live
crowd.
experience.
And
I
what was
forgot about this
fascinating
one.
about this was, and Shota said, never seen a crowd like that, even Wildexter in the years both ended up having. So, what was fascinating about this was those New Japan US shows. Oh, but there's exceptions. Like if Tanahashi's wrestling a big match or Mercedes is wrestling, like they're generally pretty. The crowds are pretty. They just sort of watch the wrestling, don't
Yeah.
they?
They're like Mercedes
But
and
Jack
Suzuki.
Perry came out, and it was like it was a fucking event in Chicago, and I think this was just after the footage of it had aired. I want to say.
It was.
which was a great idea.
Yeah, because this was April 3rd. I think that show was April 13th or 12th,
Yeah.
and the footage aired on like the 6th.
He came out with riot gear.
As Chi-Town says,
That was fucking insane.
and this is what makes this even more notable. And I get why this makes it even more of a rich memory. Is both guys would go on to become like
Shit.
Shitters.
I mean, they'd kind of be punching bags. Like Jack did some really good stuff as a babyface before he was the scapegoat Jack Perry.
Oh yeah,
Dude, some of that stuff's really good. I promise.
Christian
I'm not
Cage
gonna-
match.
Yeah, like him. He has some good stuff in there. I'm not going to send you links to it because I don't think you're going to be watching any Jurassic Express tapes. But there was good stuff with him as White Meat Babyface. Had the music. The scapegoat run obviously proved to be what it would be, but it's an interesting one. And then at 2025, they would both work the Tokyo Dome in matches that were
Fucking PU, dude.
it
Jesus.
was a rough night at the office. So that makes it even more unique, no doubt. Thank you, Chi-Town.
Yeah,
Spurs.
I bought a last minute I bought a last minute first row for that show. Oh my god.
NBA
Kevin
Twitter,
Perry.
NBA Twitter talk. Awesome. Caden, what'd you say?
I was ended up being barricade for that, and that is getting like having all of the sound hit you. I've been to a lot of wrestling shows. Nothing has ever come close to the atmosphere for a single like I've never seen anything like that. I thought a riot was genuinely going. I thought people were going to get into fights. Like, I never seen that.
He's not here, but we have to represent the Hooper in the story about Final Battle 2022 when there was that Roosh tag. It was like Roosh and someone versus Blake Christian. And Manny the Hooper was like, I've never seen anything like this. I was convinced the riot was going to break out. And it's like, bro, are you all right? Like, it was a fucking Blake Christian Roosh tag in the opening match. So what are you talking about? He was like, I'm telling you, bro. It was different. It was a different atmosphere. Some more in the chat here. Go on, let's go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before the chat, that's the show. Didn't we do a Grin along and we all lost our shit for that Ziggler Ishii match? And then the response generally was like, it was okay, but we were all like, this is awesome.
The Grin along bump, brother. Won't be the first. Won't be the last. Jason says, I love this. KO's debut on the main roster may have been the last time I actually called someone on the phone to tell them to turn on the wrestling.
Love
that
it.
is, that's magical right there.
Yeah.
Here's this one. Look at this. I was at the first Dynamite.
Oh.
That's a nice piece of history. Rio and Nyla was the hottest crowd I'd ever
Oh,
been
that
in,
match is
including
great.
main event one. People really got with that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
One show I went to, they plugged an Eddie Kingston ROH main event for 2 hours.
They did this every time he was on ROH for like a full year. I remember them doing this to me too. Happened every time.
This is spectacular. Most random match I've seen live: Hiroshi Tanahashi and the Rock and Roll Express versus Alex Zane, Clark Connors, and TJP. What was the context for this, Kaden? Do you remember this?
That's gotta be on like one of the New Japan of America shows. That might be.
It has to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't the one with Despy and Mox?
Yeah, that might be it. No, Despy and Mox was in Japan.
No, the first one. The one
yeah.
the one on like SummerSlam weekend or some shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The national show. It might be that. It might be that one.
I thought Alex Zane was going to be somebody, man. I had
Good
hitched my
wrestler.
wagon to that dude. Yeah.
I thought so
it was
too.
2020 in Atlanta. Thank you, Jason. I apologize. All right. I primarily got into wrestling because AEW was running a pay-per-view, Revolution 2022, at my college basketball arena. That was a hell of a pay, too. Hell of a pay.
Shout out UCF.
Look at this. I don't know why, but a year before I was even a wrestling fan, I went to an Impact House show. It was you who went to those. And met AJ Styles, and he signed my hat. Had no clue who he was. Wow.
It's a good looking hat you got there.
What do you think about the Earth shape?
All right. Don't have an hat. I went to No Way Out 2006, 2 all-timer.
Nice.
Kurt and Taker's all-timer in the main, and the hilarious Tatanka return that died in the building because we expected Jeff Hardy. Quietly, a good professional wrestling match, that Tatanka tag. But I understand if you were expecting Jeff Hardy, probably a bummer, but worth revisiting the tape. That one's very cool. The New Japan DC show where Kyle Fletcher did a moonsault and hit his head on the barricade and had like a fucking hole in the back. That was insane. Yeah. Remember that?
Why do you do that, idiot?
That's why Kyle stopped doing moonsaults.
A Stardom show during this year's WrestleMania weekend. It's really fun. It convinced me to watch All-Star, Grand Queendom, which is one of my favorites of the year. I'm going through a lot of these because I just love all the different experiences, you know. Yep. My first 3 shows were in a short period of 2023. Battle in the Valley with Mercedes and Kyrie. Wow.
Oh,
Dynamite
God bless.
With Takeshita, Blue Thunderball off a ladder.
That is crazy.
And Revolution with the MJF Bryan Iron Man 1 hour match. That is a pretty wild. And that, I want to say that Revolution has a terrific undercard too.
Very good.
And that was a show that going in, that was when we really started, because the crowds were forming in late 2022 in AEW. And I remember that build specifically, a lot of people were very upset going in, and then they ended up having a killer undercard.
Yeah, I remember loving that show. I think Joe and Wardlow was the only miss on that show, from what I remember.
Joe and Wardlow, and then the tag match was that there's a 4-way tag that isn't good, but that's the return of FTR.
That's right. Yeah. Jack, either Randy punting Cena's dad's head into the other atmosphere, or a mix between Takeshita and Ospreay and the Owen back in April, plus realizing that I wasn't about to see a Jack Perry return live. That was when Josh Alexander showed up.
That was the Josh Alexander Hangman Adam Page match.
Dude, so that TV was also that was when Joe and the Ops win the trios belts, and the place fucking blows for that. Yeah,
great main event too.
That's a really, really fun one. Really, really fun one. Still my favorite wrestler as a kid. Getting to see him a few times in AEW was awesome. TK did such a service to us because I saw him have the only time I saw him in AEW was he made the save for Darby, I guess, last year. But remember that coffin match they did with Swerve and Christian? That was a bonkers deal, bro. Yeah. They got the music and everything.
The Forbidden Door, the first Forbidden Door match when it was Sting, Darby, and Shingo, thank you, against Bucks and fucking whoever that white boy is. Like that was fun. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That's like one of the definitive Sting moments though, because that match has the part where the Bucks dual super kick him and he no sells it, and like they kept it on the hard cam, and like people are just like coming up out of it. I remember losing my fucking shit. I was there with Brandon and Doxy, and we were all fucking losing it. Yeah,
that match is fucking awesome.
That match is awesome. Yeah, wonderful stuff. Brother and I went to Nashville to do the whole TNA signing and Slammiversary 07.
Oh,
experience.
beautiful.
Oh, this is right up Alex's street. I was going to
beautiful.
Say, extremely fun weekend. My brother asked Bobby Roode how he made his hair look so wet. Conditioner was the answer. And
listen, there was a time where I legitimately thought Bobby Roode was going to be the next big major star.
He could have been, I think.
He could have been. I was convinced. His title run in NXT is fantastic. It's something we've talked about at length. Very. It's not all it takes, you youngins. All right.
No, hold on. No, I'm talking in TNA.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, he should have. Remember when he said
I was
brother. Yeah,
Bobby
he's not ready, dude.
His heel run is good, genuinely though. That's one thing I agree with Hogan on. That's one. Sorry, carry on, Alex. Yeah.
Only one.
Well, Bob's out of the picture, so we can't circle back to him. But Slammiversary 07, I always remember the event poster for it was the Walk the Line poster, where fucking Joaquin's looking over his shoulder, but it was Jeff Jarrett with the guitar slung over it instead. I love that shit.
Fucking awesome. Yeah. Absolutely right. I'm going to keep going back to see if yours hasn't been brought up. I will try my best to get to it because I have them all starred here. Intention, Super Chat. I haven't seen any wrestling in person. The first match I saw, this always pops me because this has been mentioned before. First match I saw it was happening online was Tavion Heights versus Alpha Wolf.
Who are those people?
The fact that you persevered. Tavion Heights is like an NXT prospect they sent to Noah. And he's good. He's a good prospect, but it's just fascinating that was your first experience,
Wait, is he one of the guys that was on Bloodsport?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jack,
then I would have seen him.
No.
Crosby? You all right?
Like set in Tavion Heights, Noah.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Like the way wrestling should be, and then he got back and they did nothing with him.
Like they did with fucking our boy.
You know where I'm going with this?
Yes.
Why the fuck is Omos
Let it go, champ.
the biggest star in professional wrestling right now?
Let it go, champ.
He's going to AAA, Jack. Don't worry.
He went over to Noah.
I'm going to have to clip out Alex going to Crosby. You're right. Let it go, champ.
Me every Saturday night. I'm going to tweet that.
Yeah. The thing is, I have no doubt this was good because Tavion is very talented. It just pops me that was your first match. It will always pop me. And then you've ended up here.
How?
All right, so off the heels, I had to look up the actual lineup. Off the heels of that Rock and Roll Express fucking Tanahashi match you read off earlier, the randomness of it. I've seen a lot of random matches, but this might be the most random. It was a 10-man tag. It was PCO, Barry Horowitz, Fandango, and Jimmy Wang Yang with Enzo Amore taking on the team of the Rock and Roll Express, Juice Robinson, Colt Cabana, and Atsushi Onita.
Just unbelievable. If Oracle was here, I would on the spot have him rank those guys greatest wrestler ever style. Go for it.
And grab the mic and
yeah. Deep breath to begin. Yeah. Tremendous stuff. All right. Novi, I'm going to go back to you. What's another one you'd like to bring to the table? As you said, we've already killed a lot of time because I knew this was going to happen. You just go in a million directions. But go for it.
So I've been lucky enough to have some local indies around here. DPW runs very close, 2.5 hours from here, but there's one independent wrestling promotion that has recently started in 2023. They ran their first show about 15 minutes from here. Don't really care if that's known. Ashe Wrestling. It's owned by Darius Lockhart. Yeah. He runs the promotion. They've sustained in Charlotte for a little bit now. They run pretty consistently per year. But I was lucky enough to go to their first show because I saw just an Instagram ad for it, and I said, you know what, fuck it. It was a small venue. It was just like
I remember
kind of
watching that show. Yeah,
it was like a basketball arena kind of thing. Nothing too crazy like across the show. Just a lot of people I was trying to get to know. Kevin Knight was in the opener, which was pretty sick. The inventory were on there, and I was convinced that they were good after that match because they were just over.
They might be.
Maybe. You never know. There's long careers. Darius Carter and John Gresham had I thought, great match in the building. I thought it's probably good now.
Haven't revisited the tape on that.
Haven't revisited the tape now, but I enjoyed it in the building. But
shout out to John. Yeah, go for
it. The prime match of the night. The big reason why I was like super excited to attend was the main event. It was Trish Adora versus Aja Kong.
By God.
For this Asha show, I think there was like maybe 100 people in the building, maybe. Yeah. And Aja goes 14 minutes with Trish. Is this post where she gets her like I don't know if she got stem cells or something. She got her knees fixed, so she was like she's kind of working in there. And I was like, this is just fucking awesome. Like this is the most random wrestler I've ever gonna see. It's just in the most random place, just awesome.
That's what wrestling's all about, really, right? Like, just fucking doesn't get any cooler than that, to be honest. That's the sort of shit that I love. That's a wonderful, wonderful tale. Bob O'Neill, where would you like to go next, mate, with your own memories?
Let's go to Money in the Bank 2018. Seeing Alexa Bliss win the briefcase and then cash in the same night was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was unless I'm maybe mistaken, I'm pretty sure that got like a crazy reaction, right?
It did too, yeah. And Sasha was in the ladder match, Becky was in the ladder match. So it's like, oh, I don't know if she's gonna win, and then she did, and it's just like,
wasn't it in Columbus?
It was in Chicago.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, no, you're good. And then cashing in during the Ronda and Nia match, like I didn't really expect that. I guess I should have a little bit more, just based on what they were going for. But yeah, it ruled, man.
Yeah, that was. I remember that being at the height of like the hardcore fan being it's like exhausted with Alexa, and I get it because I understand everyone was exhausted with everything. It was 2018 WWE, but it was always a pretty interesting contrast that the Chicago crowd went like that crazy about it, and it wasn't just because let's be honest, crowds always pop for cash-ins, but they went nuts for her winning the match. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. And that was the one I think that Alex described as she celebrated like LeBron James winning the NBA championship. I think Alex once said on our shows. So, a very fun one. I'll quickly jump to a Money in the Bank experience of my own. I fucking hate the Money in the Bank, but I was there for Bloodline Civil War with old Montel WP. We know. We got our We the Ones shirts. We appeared famously during John Cena's entrance. Honestly, we were ahead of our time in reacting like that to John Cena, who would soon, But anyway, we've talked about it a million times, so I just need to bring it up briefly. An incredible deal. Roman Reigns like a conductor that night. The way he had the live crowd in the palm of his hands, it was great. I loved that match, and I have the Blu-ray because I respect the business. Okay.
There you go.
Speaking of Blu-rays, Contrarian Alex, where would you like to go next, mate?
Brother, hold on. Consulting the shelf. Oh man, I'm trying to stay disciplined on this because I obviously could be here forever talking about this shit. So I did jot down a few standouts. It seems like fucking a lifetime ago because it was before COVID, and it also seems kind of made up that they tried this at this point. G1 Dallas in 2019, when that's I forget who was investing in New Japan at that point in time domestically, but they probably did 6,000 or 7,000 in that building, which is respectable, but also AAC seats about 20. Very hot and cold on old Billy Ospreay, but that match with fucking Lance Hoyt on that show was amazing. I love that match, and it's kind of similar to the Kenny Okada thing from just a month ago. Getting to be there for Tanahashi and Okada to see that live, and their only time in the United States. And like when the bell rang and like the organic reaction to it, that was very, very cool. That was a fun weekend. I also went to an indie show the night before where Homicide and Teddy Hart faced off in a match, and obviously there's a lot of things at play there, but getting to hear Homicide go, "Teddy Hart, get your ass in here!" I was like, all right, we're good. But
some bad news, Alex. I don't know how to break this to you. Tanahashi and Okada actually wrestled, I believe, at Battle in the Valley
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
And they had a classic, actually, a match we definitely all remember fondly and was definitely really, really good.
So, but mine was the first.
I actually do have very fond memories of that 2023 match.
I'm sure you do. The rest of us we were awake. We were watching it, and I remember it. No, I'm just fucking around. But yeah, I
got the first one, right?
You got the first one. The knees were fresher.
Yeah,
yeah. It was G1. Yeah.
There was a point in that match where I remember my buddy Adam, who doesn't really react to anything. The fucking Tanahashi or Okada got shit canned, and Tanahashi teased like he was going to do a dive to the outside, and he like stood up and was like, "No fucking way." So got that. PCO Walter from Spring Break 2. That's
body.
So it's fucking 2:30 in the morning. I'm dressed up like Bull Nakano with my long hair at that time, like completely vertical. And Dylan Hales is on Twitter during that match going off like Joey Diaz watching Eddie Alvarez when he's like all caps, like yelling, "I told you, motherfuckers," like going off due to PCO's performance. That's like one of the more surreal memories I have. And like, dude, that I've heard people like talk shit about that match. It's like, yeah, it's just PCO getting the shit beat out of him. And also, to be honest, like the fallout of it is a bit questionable of promotions making this old man do all this crazy shit. But that match was incredible. All right, so let's get to some serious business here. When I was in college, there was a promotion in Denton, Texas that ran called XCW. And they owned a building that was, I believe, a bar prior to, maybe even a strip club. But they owned this building that they had a ring permanently set up in there, and they ran shows every Friday night. And it was $10 for admission. If you had a student ID, it was $5. And it was also BYOB. And they did not check IDs. So nice. The crowd makeup at these shows was college kids who knew if they got someone to buy them beer, they could come there and drink and holler and pay $5 to get in there. It was there were some seasoned locals because we went there every week, so we made friends with the regulars that would tell me about going to the Sportatorium and watching the Von Erichs back in the day. There were like the wrestlers' families, and then every once in a while, some people would drift in and out. Like, so this place, like, there's like, I remember there's a couple times they got 500 people in there, and if there was a fire, we all would have fucking died, Great White style, dude. Like, it was. But also, like, this is where Athena had some of her first matches. It's where Keith Lee had some of his first matches. Terry Funk came through there. El Generico wrestled there. Bryan Danielson, I posted a picture earlier today. Bryan Danielson wrestled there, and I got to meet him and talk to him for a while. I was one of the only like 5 people who knew the fuck he was there in 2007. But so weekly wrestling, weekly stories. They did death matches. Man, there was one time this fucking, like, the ring is like right there, and the security, like, wrestlers got in fights with fans all the time there. And that's when I do my jokes about like, oh, these kids today don't know what it's like. And they used fire a couple times where it got really scary. But I remember one match, they were doing a death match, and this dude like had the guy hunched over the ropes. He ran at him, hit him on the back of the light tube. The fucking other end of the light tube frisbeed into the crowd and went right into a kid's face. And the kid goes down, and I thought he was selling, and he came back up, and this kid's just pouring blood out of his face.
He was selling.
And so, like, and like the regulars every week were Sean Hernandez, Hot Stuff Hernandez was wrestling there when he was a TNA tag champ. Necro Butcher was a regular there. Masada was a regular there. So that's the kind of stuff we're like working with here.
All of the finest people and characters in the business.
Yeah. So a memory I was thinking about there, for those, Mitch Ryder was a wrestler who was active like in Chikara back in the day. And, when he passed away a few years ago, there's some people that kind of Mitch Ryder was like, he was a wrestler from like the early 80s, but he was trying to, this is his character I'm saying, he was trying to adapt to like modern standards. So he had like a robe, and he had the bleach blonde hair, and he wore sunglasses in the ring and shit. And he had a real deep voice, and he talked like this. And he found himself embroiled in a feud with a wrestler named Gemini. Gemini was part of a tag team along with his tag team partner Sid Murder Their tag team name was Black by Popular Demand. And, retweets do not equal endorsements, as I tell this story. And we build to this big blow-off match with Mitch Ryder and Gemini at the Christmas show at XCW. And Gemini, some of his family was there. And Mitch Ryder comes out, and he has a Christmas present for Gemini. And they have this match. And I don't remember who wins, but I remember after the match, fucking Mitch Ryder blindsides Gemini and lays him out, and he opens up the present. It's a noose.
I knew just from your tone, I knew it was going to be some shit I didn't have you on camera for. Carry on.
And he puts the noose around Gemini's neck and throws him over the top rope and starts yanking. And Gemini's, some of his family's there, and some other of the regulars, the locals, don't much care for what's happening. And the security at XCW was just a couple of corn-fed white boys that had big red shirts on. And they are quickly being overwhelmed by the people who are not pleased with what's going on in the ring.
Yeah.
And it's the only time I remember I turned to my friend Brody and I was like, where's the door? Like, because we need a straight line for this if shit gets out of control. They immediately get him to the back and then rush out the next match to calm down what's happening. That is the only time I've ever been at a wrestling show where I was like, things are about to pop off at any moment. So it was that was a memorable one, to say the very least. I was also at a house show in Waco where the Undertaker came back.
Be completely honest. How much of your motivation to tell that story was so that you'd have the ability to transition the way you just did to Sonya?
I do like that story just in the sense of how fucking stupid wrestling is. Yeah, and even if something insane. In 2006 or 07, someone thought that was okay. But I just remember it being very violent and volatile.
Fuck.
Yeah. Speaking of which, though, the Undertaker comeback was not. It was that was I don't know if y'all remember. Y'all are young, but it was his match that he came back to see if he was in ring shape for Punk at 29. They did this house show in Waco where it was Wade Barrett and Damian Sandow called out Sheamus, and Sheamus is like, surprise, fella, I got a tag partner for you. And then the Undertaker comes out, and that was...
What the fuck was that Irish accent?
He sort of gave up on it halfway through, didn't he?
All right. Joe, if you'll afford me another story here.
Please, just keep going. Do what you want.
All right, so Ian Rotten.
No!
All right.
We're gonna let it right. Carry on for now.
Ian Rotten runs the show in San Antonio, right, in 2007-ish, somewhere in that. I think it was Ian Rotten. Ian Rotten took credit for it, but I don't know who financed it. But the whole deal was Necro and Masada were billed on the show. They were supposed to wrestle different people. And then depending on, what happened, either people no-showed or Ian just canceled their flights. And so then he pairs Necro and Masada to wrestle each other on the show. And for long-term fans, Klein's listening or somebody, you may know, there was this legendary heat between Necro and Masada from something that happened in Big Japan back in the day. And the story goes, Masada's you don't want me to wrestle him because this is going to go poorly. And they're like, no, it'll be fine. So they come out in this bar. There's fucking 35 people paying attention to what's happening in the ring. And really quickly in the match, Necro starts doing his shit where he's throwing legit punches at Masada. And Masada checks him one time. And then Necro punches him back. And then fucking Chuck Liddell, Jeremy Horn style, Masada throws this 1-2 right down the pipe that just drops Necro in his fucking ass, dude. Right on the fucking jaw. And Necro goes down, and he tries to get back up, and he tries to start working. and Brig grabs his head and starts fucking kneeing him over and over in the head, and Necro just goes down, fucking like just dazed. He's like fucking out on the ropes. And then Masada, like, he yells at the curtain or Ian or whoever. He goes, I told you this shit was going to fucking happen. And then they wrestle for another 20 minutes. Like, once you put him in his place, they have this, like, hardcore match that ended on a roll-up. Like, I'm watching this, just like, what is happening here? So that is a very memorable experience.
Wow.
Yeah. I was at the TNA show where the building caught on fire. That has been documented on...
It has.
Grin along. And potentially the nerdiest one I have here to call up is I always wanted to be live for Ring of Honor title change. Like when I was in college, reading about Ring of Honor title changes was like mythical. Like anytime that happened. So I went to Death Before Dishonor in 2016, the night before the Conor McGregor Nate Diaz rematch. And Adam Cole and Jay Lethal had, in my opinion, a pretty underrated match. It was that's when Cole, like, they tied him to the ropes and he shaved his head in the lead-in and whatnot, and Jay Lethal was out for blood. So getting to be live for a Ring of Honor title change was pretty fucking cool.
I still maintain, not live, but like the greatest title change in wrestling history I've ever seen, just overall, was Homicide beating Bryan.
Oh, that's a classic, man.
Yeah,
that is the greatest title change in wrestling history I've ever seen.
What was the date on that, Alex? Was that, when did you say it was? March? Was it March? Or was it, no, it would have been the rematch, right?
Cole and Lethal. Cole and Lethal, that, sometime in August of 2016.
Yeah, because March was the first Conor and Nate fight, right? It was March of that year? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, wonderful. I'm intrigued by this timeline. We're going to turn to the chat for a bit. Appreciate everyone who's been chipping in throughout the night. Showtown Spurs, I think it'll probably be impossible to top All Out 2021 Live. That was the show where Dragon and Cole debuted to close the program.
Crazy.
Punk's first match back, all that stuff. The first wrestling show I ever saw live was World's End 2024. Watching Osprey Okada was an insane experience in person. We don't talk about the main event. You could have got much worse, don't worry about it. It was fun. But yes, Osprey and Okada was great. Only show I went to as a kid was a house show, and I was absolutely gassed out. I got an Evan Bourne high five.
Nice. Love it.
Okay, what else do we have here? Cow, I was there live for CMLL versus Blackpool Combat Club. It was so unbelievably loud that I got scared, went back to check the tape, and it sounds like we were politely clapped. Yeah, the way those shows are mic'd is always...
it's really annoying. That match is one of the best that year. It's so good.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Incredible vibes for that one.
Yeah.
Andrews Gaming. Love, Rob, you're a beast. Agreed. Bob, you're a beast.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. Shout out to Canada.
If anyone agrees with Andrew's game, their assessment, they probably like the show. Bob, do you have any advice for people that like the show?
Yeah, they can go ahead and smash that like button.
Better. It was better, but I was hoping that super chat was going to push you into a next gear. I got to be honest. Maybe next.
Gotta get in the lab.
What is Kaden doing? You say he's fishing. What's he doing? What is this? We're doing a podcast here, man. This is what's wrong with this place.
Would you rather me be fishing with the cat, or would you rather the cat be scratching up my microphone?
I would rather you mute like a professional. That's what I'd rather you do.
Joe, can I be honest with you, Joe? Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
It's a fine, bro.
Oh, it's easier. Yeah, I'm not paying him this month. The Rickster. Double nothing 2024.
I still have never seen a paycheck.
You're in the big time, bro. Is what it is. After the show, Brian and FTR are standing in the ring, defeated. Then they play Final Countdown again. I realize it's the last time I'll see my go live probably. Speaking of Final Countdown, we were all talking about that Ricky Starks match earlier. Mm-hmm. That was great. The night before when he made the surprise entrance, we heard, yes, of course, Brian Danielson was there, but moreover, we got the Steamboat WCW theme, brother. I think a lot of us have heard that at AEW.
That was very cool.
But you've experienced that too. That was happening, no doubt. Thank you, Rickster. Look at the draw that Bob O'Neill is. He puts over Canada, and Andre's game immediately goes, I'm in. Give me a membership of this thing. I don't want to just like the video. I need to become a member. That's how good Bob O'Neill is. I don't disagree with the assessment. Amari, I was there live at the NXT house show. in Atlanta on New Year's Day in 2019. Dijak and Keith Lee had a clinic on that show.
Nice.
Even my mum was locked in on Black and Gold NXT, and she was a casual wrestling fan. I was somebody saw WrestleMania earlier, but I really hate the myth that like if you're a casual wrestling fan, it means every casual wrestling fan likes the same thing. I absolutely buy that casual wrestling fans would watch a match like Dijak and Keith Lee and be like, "Let's fucking go! That was cool, right?" Like, I love that story. That's awesome. Tremendous stuff, Amari.
So now, when do I get my turn?
Go for it, Jack. Go for it.
I have
it's UFC 219.
UFC 244, Diaz versus Masvidal, BMF. No, but no, I have a good one. I think I've told the story on here before. I was in attendance for the Vince limo explosion.
That's yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
And I have
behavior. Jack, carry on. Yep.
Play off of that.
Yep.
So I was I don't live in a bit. I'm Scranton, Pennsylvania. I know, like The Office, the TV show, made this area famous, but we're not. Mm-hmm. It's not a big area by any means. But I do have an arena 10 minutes from the house. Minor league hockey arena fits 15,000 people. So like WWE comes here all the time. Well, this was 07. They were here for a Raw, whatever it was. And I went down and, there was the limo explosion. So we're sitting there and everyone's just watching. We're like, huh. All right. And that was the end of the show. There were no dark matches, nothing. Like the limo blew up. The funnier story, though, is rooted in reality because they taped the limo explosion like 2:00 in the morning the day prior.
That's yes, correct.
Like 2-3 a.m. the day prior. They didn't tell WWE for some reason. They didn't tell the fire department, local authorities, no one.
Shooting an angle, bro.
Blew up a limo. It's like 2-3 o'clock in the morning around here, just for TV. It sent this place into a fucking frenzy.
That's
like
awesome.
There were headlines in our local newspapers. Kaden Novi. Do you know what newspapers are?
Yes, loosely aware.
Okay, all right.
Written for
sent their local newspapers into a fucking frenzy because apparently there was a big fucking to-do. Like cops and everyone showed because they just blew up a limo because they taped it the night before at like 2:00 in the morning.
I forgot this story and I was very concerned where you were going, but that is actually an incredible tale. Real
live though.
Sorry,
like
Jack.
As far as live wrestling, like that,
that's a moment, but yeah,
like that moment, because it's so iconic and like,
yeah,
we're all sitting there in the arena, like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what?
Yeah. Alex, tread lightly, all right.
I was.
I was gonna say off of that, Jack. When I went to Supercard of Honor 12 in New Orleans, which was the test run for AEW, for those who don't know, and I'm still looking for the event shirt for anyone out there who might be, I got to get this out every time I can because
you do.
Ring of Honor did not let the UNO Lakefront Arena know they were going to do pyro on the show, and so when the show started, it went off, and like the staff started to go into emergency response mode, and also Ring of Honor did not pay for more than 4 bathrooms to be open. So they were overflowing into the hallway. So that's similar.
As far as live wrestling experience, like matches goes, the wife and I were in attendance for Andrade Gargano, NXT TakeOver Philly.
Nice.
That is that is. I still think, and people were calling it at the time, and I thought it was hyperbolic. I think that is the greatest WWE match, like wrestling wise, of all time.
It's an incredible match. Yeah.
I mean, Gargano's been coasting off of it for 10 years, so.
Unlike our boy Andy, who continues to innovate and revolutionize the sport. His deep catalogue that he's had since. We'll move past that. One of the most disappointing times I've had at a show was at a SmackDown. This is bizarre, where the whole Taker entrance played, but Taker wasn't there.
That's amazing.
Jason said I saw Minoru Suzuki wrestle Anthony Henry at a small place. So I remember this was the house. Remember when he did like a US tour, Suzuki? This was on that loop. Suzuki playing the hits. I remember there being a clip of like a violent forearm, Jason. It sounds like a good time. Anthony Henry's a really good pro wrestler. I love this story. I'll never forget the AEW show I went to 2 years ago with my uncle. When the lights went out and Sting appeared, my uncle, who said he'd never watched wrestling, jumped up smiling, phone out to record. That is pro wrestling there. That's beautiful. Being second row for the first Grand Slam was my best experience by far.
Wow. The first one. Yeah, it's cool.
The excitement for that show was immense. Jay Splash, this is a memorable Raw. 10 years old at the Raw.
Oh, no!
Wins the belt and then loses to Cena. CM Punk returns, but he followed up with, I was a huge Cena mark, so I was happy when he won, even though I loved Ray too. Found out years later everyone hated that moment. And they did. Everyone hates that moment, man. He beats Ray. Fuck. That was crazy. But you got cult personality, right? Wonderful. Couple more I want to get to. I'm going to read Chris Bordine's list, and then we're going to take it home pretty soon because honestly, fellas, I don't know if you agree. This feels like a thing we can do, like, you know, semi-regular. I feel like we can circle back to this because I think there's a million stories, especially with how big our roster is.
Joe,
this has been a great time.
Can I have a few minutes to run down my list?
Well, based on the fact that I just explained this will be an ongoing story, series, I feel like you should save the rest of your list.
I haven't even talked about Roman being number 30 at Rumble either.
I haven't talked about Texas. Man, I'm not going to keep this receipt paper. I'm going to forget
it. His fucking pay.
All right, I'll let you. I tell you what, we'll do this, and then we'll do that. All right, we'll do that. Okay. All right. Funny house show story from NXT. Asuka mid undefeated streak went 16 minutes for Peyton Royce, complete with a 2.9 for Peyton. That is what this business is all about. Fabulous.
Incredible.
All right, I want to give Chris Bourdine some because he was supposed to be on this show. He could not make the town, and I was really intrigued his list would be. So he sent in his top 5. Honorable mention: NXT house show Cleveland in 2016. I'm desperate for the Vault to give us some of these house shows, man. These were the most interesting house shows to me. This crop of NXT. This was the night where Asuka KO'd Emma for a shoot. And on the same night, FTR broke Tommy Ciampa's jaw with a shatter machine. It was shoot night in NXT that night. At the top 5 here, we've got other honorable mentions. Rumble 09 with Matt Hardy's heel turn, and SummerSlam 93. Bourdine was in attendance for that. Luger, Yoko.
Steiner's Heavenly Bodies.
Dude, Steiner's Heavenly Bodies is one of my all-time favorites. Love that match. His 5th moment here. The Punk sobriety test segment. Edge makes a surprise appearance and Cena's birthday celebration, as seen, here you go, Alex, on the Best of Raw after the show Blu-ray. There you go. Kevin Steen's final Ring of Honor appearance. That's a cool one. This is a real contrarian Alex friendly list. The Raw where Shane McMahon returns.
God bless.
New Day versus the Usos from Hell in a Cell 2017, and in at 1, Cody winning the belt. WrestleMania 40. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Right, here's what we're going to do. Kaden Lee is going to run down his list because he's been really aggressive. We're going to do some plugs. We're going to go out here because usually we'd keep going because that's what we do, but we have 24-hour stream this weekend. We're going to just do a tight 2 and get on out here. And this is saying genuinely, like, I think this is very much tonally in line with what we try to do at the late night Grin, right? So I love seeing everyone's experience.
I'm embarrassed to acknowledge how many stories I still have to tell. So
we'll definitely get you back. Quickly, let's show some love to this one. Alexa Bliss lost seemed like she got injured at the end of 2018, right? That was when she got hurt. So I think it may have been the matchup, but it wouldn't have been that one. It would have been the one after. I saw Alexa have the match with Ronda where she nearly shoot one. I've told that story before. Ronda forgot to kick out, and so Alexa nearly won the belt for a shoot. That was pretty funny. Kaden Lee, go for it.
So I know I've told you. Have I told on the air my Dax Harwood bar story?
I think you have. You tell a lot of stories out of turn, so probably Go on.
Making sure. So I'll leave some for later. But a lot of them have been mentioned, like the G1 in Dallas. All Out 2023 mainly because of Punk's firing. I think that's really funny, and the fact that I saw Joel Holbert on a bus.
Yeah, and you insulted my physique.
Like, I said I was disappointed in Joe's build. Double or Nothing, getting to go to the first Double or Nothing was a special moment for me, especially as like a 16-year-old. Going to Vegas in general, whenever you're 16, I think is a special moment.
But your age, Jesus.
But that was I remember the experience of like. Not only the experience of the show is awesome, getting tickets was a special moment too. I was sitting in class trying to get my tickets on shitty Access. The Access ticket website's god awful. Cody's return at WrestleMania 38 is awesome for me. I liked Cody a lot. I wasn't like the biggest fan of him, but for some reason I was like very bought into him going to WWE and getting to see him come out, and also the intrigue of if he was going to use the theme song and what he would keep in his presentation. So I remember
great moment.
Yeah, a moment rules. And I remember I have a video of the entrance and you can hear me trying to sing Kingdom and my voice was gone because the night before was FTR Briscoes. And it literally just, and also that is also on my list, both the FTR Briscoes first match and then the dog collar is on my list as well. But yeah, I lost my voice from that show. And I had nothing that day. And so I'm trying my best to get through Kingdom. And I'm pretty sure that took out the rest of my voice. And I think I was fucked for about a week after that because of Kingdom. That's awesome. You mentioned Final Countdown at All Out 2023. I have a video of me singing that. I'm fairly confident I cry in that video. And since Novi didn't bring it up, I'm going to Hangman Adam Page winning at All In Texas.
Wasn't your story to tell.
Getting to be ringside for that as well. I told the story about how Hangman's wife gave me her ringside chair, so I have that at my mom's house right now, which is fucking awesome.
And the multiple stories we heard about you having a fight with security, get out, like a true Kaden Lee moment.
Oh yeah, I had a fight with security about getting that chair. So then I had to go ask.
God that sat there and had to, just watch on as an 8-hour wrestling show takes place, and Kaden Lee begins to berate him about taking this fucking chair out of the building. Just a classic, vintage Kaden Lee. Vintage.
Hey man, I was getting that fucking chair.
You were getting it, bro.
I got it. We got it. It's at home. I have that with my Revolution 2024 chair. But that moment, it's like that's such a special viewing experience. Getting to it's obviously it's cool. It's incredible getting to be there. I'm very blessed to have that opportunity. But because I was sitting next to Hangman's wife, I got to just at certain points, whenever something crazy would happen to Hangman, I would just I would just glance over and just kind of see. I would quickly glance over and just see what her face was. Whenever Marina Shafir, fairly early in the match, whenever Marina Shafir jumped on his back, and started beating, kicking him while the ref, Mox distracted the ref, she jumped up, genuine, just jumped up out of her seat and was ready to go fight Marina Shafir. And you could see that she had to tell herself, oh, wait, this is not real. I need to calm down. Bro. And it's fucking godly.
You're sitting at a wrestling show. You're the main event fella's wife, and you see this fucking guy, Kaden Lee, look.
Just glaring at you.
Look.
Crunching knuckles cool glaring at you.
The funnier part of the story
Can I have your chair?
is that very loudly, once my girlfriend knows that Hangman's wife is sitting next to us, very loudly my girlfriend goes, he's so fucking hot.
That's aggressive. This is now, this guy, he can't help himself. He comes
it's a family
out
show
a heel.
before.
Do you have anything else on your fucking receipt, Kaden Lee, before we move on here? Jesus, this guy. I mean,
the time when I was at GC, I was at the fucking Collective 2022, and I ran into Minoru Suzuki in the bathroom.
Oh, hold on, yeah.
Minoru, I'm leaving. I'm leaving the restroom. I use the urinal. I'm leaving to go wash my hands, and Suzuki is walking towards the urinals. And you know the thing where it's you can't tell which direction you're gonna go. Oh, am I gonna go left? Am I gonna go right?
Check each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Suzuki had one of those moments in the bathroom at the fucking in a storage warehouse at fucking.
Okay, that's funny. All right, fair.
At the what's it called? The Cotton Bowl.
Did you tell him you were taking your chair for the night and getting an argument with him?
Oh God, I was scared. I thought he was gonna
glare him.
I did not glare at Minoru Suzuki. What else is Stone Cold at Mania 30? Oh, okay, Brawl Out.
I gotta talk about Brawl
Cold.
Out.
Stone
I gotta talk about
Cold.
Brawl Out. Brawl Out is fantastic. That was oh my god. So Brawl Out happens. And so like it's been long enough. I can tell the story that so my friend early that was Sunday. So yeah, Saturday at FanFest, my friend went to Dax and Cash and gave them a bottle of bourbon. It was bourbon or whiskey. Gave them a bottle of it.
And
Jackson Cash sounds like a fucking 90s gimmick restaurant.
it's so awesome, bro.
she gives them this big bottle of alcohol. And people know that the reason why Dax, Cash, and Hangman Page were not in the building during Brawl Out is because they were drinking and they left the venue. They were drinking that bottle of alcohol. And so as we're leaving the venue to go back to the hotel, I check Twitter, and all of a sudden I see everybody going crazy. And I go, oh my god, CM Punk just called the Young Bucks a bunch of dumb fucks. And we both, the entire ride back to my hotel, because she was dropping me at my hotel before going back to hers, we're just cracking up. I throw on the fucking press conference. I wake up the next morning at 7 a.m. I have about like 15 texts from different people. And this is when I first was like kind of getting into wrestling media. Mm-hmm. So I have like 15 texts, and the first one I get, it just says, so Ace Steel bit someone's ear last night. I don't know which Young Buck it was, though.
The Ace Steel saga was... I mean, it's been long enough. We can talk about how fucking funny that was. Holy shit. He did a promo on TV that week, dude.
I spent 3 hours that morning. I went to the airport early just because I wanted to get out of... Like, I was going to go to downtown Chicago before my flight. Cause I don't know, like, my flight was at 6 p.m. And I went to the airport specifically because I just needed to text with people about what they had heard. And everyone's just sharing stories. And eventually we finally got there where we pieced together the entire part. But that entire saga, that night, everything about it is incredible.
I was asleep the whole time.
I remember that night. I was up till like fucking probably 3:30 or 4 that night with anonymous people texting me.
Yes.
And I remember the next day, for some reason, my family was staying over here, like my mom and dad, and like I woke up the next morning and immediately turned on the Observer and made them listen to it like it was the fucking radio broadcast of the troops are coming home. Like I was like, it was like, all right, everyone needs to listen to this. This is important.
All right, is that the end of your receipt, Kaden Lee?
He's got a receipt for his receipt. Jesus.
Dude. Who else can you have? Your story's about to end.
I genuinely no. Okay, so the very last I brought up. You know what? The last one will end is funny. I think I've told it, but it's still really.
I'll be the judge of that. I'll be the judge of that. Tell the story, man.
Fucking Novi looks like Vader in that women's battle royal at All In.
During
Carry on.
At New Year's Smash 2021, I ended up getting like halfway through the show, something happened, and I got moved to be sitting like because at dailies they have you sit on the stage. That's how they do it. I got moved to one of those seats, and everyone around me starts chattering. I'm like, what the fuck's happening? And then all of a sudden, these people go, oh yeah, they're wondering if you're Tony Khan's cousin.
Seems mildly racist.
Yeah.
You got racially profiled at the wrestling
it's
show,
not
bro?
Mildly, I think
He just got racially profiled. That's like it.
What possibly motivated you to tell us this story?
I think it's really funny.
I guess if you think it's funny, then I think it's funny. I don't think it's really funny.
Yeah, I think it's fucking hilarious.
I don't know if it is. I don't know.
I think it is. I think it's really funny.
Oh, so that was the big one you were building to?
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
Come on, man.
Folks, this is
you skipped over Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that was your big one?
Folks, we hope you enjoyed Kaden Lee tonight. This has been his final appearance on the live experience. Circle back. We're going to give him that, he'll have his own show moving forward. He can share these kind of anecdotes to a more enthusiastic audience. But
the problem is now he's presented this whole story that we're all just like, okay, so the logical conclusion is he has to get the point picture with Tony Khan at some point.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I have it.
Oh. Well, why didn't you lead with that, fucker?
Yeah.
I forgot I had that till you
He
mentioned
was
it.
too busy explaining to us people text him for 2 hours, we just all sat here looking at the clock tick over. I gave him the floor with like 10 minutes before the second hour was done, thinking surely I'll have time to do plugs and get home in time. Nope. So yeah, anyway, I was texting with people, and like I was in wrestling media, and so we were texting, and then I was texting some more, and I actually went to the airport to text, and A still, thanks, bro, appreciate it. Kaden Lee, 1 of 1, and if you've enjoyed this, you can get 24 hours of this. Sooner than later, Kaden Lee will be talking to you for 24 hours. Just electrifying stuff, Kaden. Give that a plug, brother. Tell the people about what's going on here tomorrow.
We're doing a 24-hour charity stream. Talked about at the top of the show. The Gina Montalto Memorial Foundation and the Trevor Project. We're starting at 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. We will go until 6 p.m. Eastern on the 17th. So Sunday. We're going to start 2 hours before Collision. We will then watch Collision. We will be watching the New Japan G1 Climax Finals that are taking place in Tokyo on the morning of the 17th. So I think those are at...
Get him out. I've had enough. I told you we shouldn't have him on board of this play. This is what happens, bro. Look
What?
at this guy.
I tried to warn you, bro.
Am I back?
You just froze violently in a fashion that was vulgar, to be honest with you. It was vulgar.
I'm
Very
sorry.
unfunded.
2 a.m. Should be New Japan, 2 a.m. Eastern. I am going to be attempting the full 24. We will see how that goes. Joe will not be. Novi already said he's going to be late. I'm sure other people will jump in and out.
Yes. Please get us some screenshots of that, please. I
Quickly.
need it.
Attempting the full 24, eh? Isn't that what Sonny's 96 run was?
Fuck, bro. Novi, what do you want to plug?
Please watch the broadcast tomorrow. I'll be late, but I'll be on it during the night. I'll watch the G1. I have plenty more stories to tell. Kaden kind of stole my thunder with the Texas story, but I have plenty more. Don't you worry.
Oh, you'll be back, Novi. Don't. A lot of this lineup will be back next time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple changes. Yeah, a couple changes. Yeah.
Yeah. No worries. Gotta kick Kaden Lee out of there immediately.
Yeah.
Professional wrestling is amazing to experience live. I think there's so many different ways to experience it. Whether you're going to a show, I recently became aware of a theater production where it was the retelling of Ragnarok through professional wrestling, and like,
what the fuck, really?
Yeah, it's at there's this huge film festival for theater. It's called Edinburgh Fringe, and like there's 4,000 theater productions. It's the only professional wrestling one out there. And like, there's a low-key comeback spot at one point. Thor does like a cutter.
Well, hold on.
At one
I
point,
thought you said low key like the wrestler.
No.
Alex, you got to take Julio to this, Alex. You got to this.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. Apparently, they tour like England and stuff. I don't know if they ever come to the States at any point, but it's really cool. And I recently just became aware of it, and it was like, there's so many beautiful ways to experience Graps. So please go to live wrestling. Please go to, if there's somehow a live wrestling theater near you, please go experience that. It's meant to be somehow, but it's,
I'm sure MJF will find a way.
He's good at that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's always fun. It's always fun.
It is. Bob O'Neill, any plugs, brother?
Obviously, watch 24-hour stream. Next week, we're watching TakeOver Brooklyn 1. I think that's about it.
Ooh, anniversary. 10 years to the day.
Crazy.
Jesus, Jones.
That's crazy. I don't like that.
I've never watched the show. I'm excited to watch it the first time.
You're a fucking child.
I love that show.
I love.
I can be your millennial uncle. I was there live. I was watching that shit. I had my Baron Corbin T-shirt on with my fucking Sasha Federer
Yeah.
Chanting blue pants. It was a different time.
Oh well. Fuck you, Joe. No, never.
I owed you at least 3.
I never flew that flag. All right.
Contrarian Alex, tell the people about the Contrarians, brother.
We are thecontrarians.com at Contrarian Prime across social media. We got our Matrix episode coming out. We recorded this week an episode on Big Daddy, not Shirley Crabtree, but the Adam Sandler film from 1999. Don't worry, I make plenty of jokes about Shirley Crabtree along the way, but we got that. We got Casablanca coming up. We're all over the place right now, but we're having a good time. So check that out. Sometime in the next month, Dudley Boy's Grin Grappler coming your way. We'll figure that out. But Hell yeah, man. Joe, you know, I got stories for days on this shit. So
Yes.
next time we do this, I'll be back. But this has been a hoot and a holler. At this point, I just need to know more about who Kaden was texting.
Yeah, that's for the post show, I suppose. Speaking of Hoots and Big Daddy, is that the film where, like, third from the top in terms of joke priorities is just constantly beating us over the head that anyone that works at Hooters is like the lowest people on earth? Is that a
Dude? Yeah, dude. That's something that comes up too because I talk about like the idea in the '90s that Hooters, like when you were a kid in the '90s, like the idea of Hooters was that it was like one step above fucking like a strip club or something like that, or a brothel, which is like I've been to plenty of Hooters in my day. Many were very tangentially tied to wrestling shows, so it's I can tell you. You get them fresh out the fryer, them wings and that buffalo shrimp is good stuff. And those gals are just making a living, man. No need, no reason. The one thing wrestling tied to it is for those Sandler was a wrestling fan when he was a kid. He couldn't tell you shit from apple butter about wrestling right now, but like his movies usually have some sort of tie-in to wrestling. And there's a part in the movie where he teaches the little boy. I'm going to teach you Strongbow. Yeah, I'm going to teach you the sleeper hold like Chief J Strongbow. I did have a bit of contention because what he actually teaches him is the kata hajime, and I could see a very fucking surly Peter Sinurcha watching that in the theater in Red Hook. Like, that's my move. He's teaching the kid my move. I need that back. Yeah, but
okay, Kaden Lee has a chance for redemption here.
What?
Kaden?
What?
Alex just said that Sana doesn't know about wrestling anymore. And he's right. He only knows the top stars in wrestling today.
Oh, fuck.
Which is why, Kaden, tell the people where they can find this.
Happy Gilmore 2. Netflix.
Walked right into it.
It released a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Look, I said it. I watched a few minutes. I didn't really like it. But look, I went back. What? I stuck it out.
He went back.
I put the time in. And you know what? Ended up being a very nice 3.5 on Letterboxd.
You went 3.5?
I think I went 3. I might have gone 3. It was 3 or 3.5. I gotta look at it.
You know, Kaden, I've actually heard something about this movie recently. I've heard it's the biggest film of the summer. Actually,
Look, don't forget if you liked Mr. Maxwell Jacob Freeman in that film, he has an interview on Screen Rant with Liam Crowley where they got coffee.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. We're talking about MJF. Are we talking about movies or the community theater that Novi was talking about?
Look, you don't have to. It could be both. In this case, it can be both. And that's the versatility of our man Max. All right. By the way, tune in mere moments here. I'm sure we'll be wrestling in CMLL any moment now.
Also, if you go to WrestleCade in Winston-Salem in November, you can meet Maxwell Jacob Freeman.
Are you guys gonna do that?
I will be there. I will be there.
What day is that? Like, isn't it like the 3rd or the 5th?
I think it's the same weekend as it was last year, Novi.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see.
Feels like that will be the end of Caden's run as he annoys Max to the degree that I have to just fire him low on the air. All right, tremendous. Jack Crosby, this is an opportunity for you, a major one. The business has changed. Do you have any plugs, sir?
I don't, but Joe, do you want to plug anything for us?
I do, but are you sure you don't want to plug any media rights situations before I do that?
Well, hold on. I mean, Jackie, UFC 319 tomorrow night, live on pay-per-view?
Live on what?
My bad.
Yeah, okay.
That's a good call.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Here's a pay-per-view.
We don't do that bullshit.
Here's a pay-per-view for you. How's this for a pay-per-view? This is the only pay-per-view Jack takes part in. Yes, we have a lot going on, right? We have Charity Stream. We announced the Tokyo tape. I'm on the debate show on Self-Made on Monday. But Tuesday, we finally have the long-awaited sequel to legitimately one of the most viewed shows in the history of LNG Gold. Available for all members. $1.99 gets you in. Crosby Unleashed 2. This Tuesday. And, brother, Karen Crosstalk on the way, I feel, Jack.
Oh, God.
I will address that. I will address the elephant in the room on Tuesday.
Fall and pray.
Dude, Alex's tweet where he was like, unless you are Jack Crosby, please shut the fuck up about the Oh, that's wonderful. Tremendous. All right, folks. That brings us to a close here for the flagship. I'm going to put this link in the chat. and obviously we will ramp up dramatically when we're on there. It's gonna be the thing we talk about a lot because clearly that's the whole fucking point of this thing. But there should now be a link in the chat. That will be our link tomorrow. So if you want to get a head start on that, if you're not going to be around tomorrow, obviously feel free to donate. We're going to be talking about a ton during our 24 hours on the air. But it should be a wonderful time. We do a lot of bullshit in this space, and we do shows like this. We talk about all sorts of things that it's questionable why they're being brought up, but we talk about them anyway. But it is a chance to actually do something real and like legitimate, this is our third charity stream. It's been way too long since the last. It was December 2022.
Is it kind of like open forum? Like if I want to drop in at some point, can I?
Absolutely. Anyone can stop by. Yes, sir. Right. God, imagine how incredible it's going to be when Alex is sharing the screen with Max and they talk about movies for a bit. Oh, I can't wait. I'm just kidding. I don't think Max knows this is happening, but it would be fun. All right. I honestly don't know. Like, I spoke to Marcus and he said he'll stop by. And I think all the veterans, I think Oracle will probably be there for Collision. But like, it's a 24-hour show, right? It's hard to book too much. It's kind of just like, we'll figure it out when everyone's around. That's the weekend. So 6 Eastern on this channel tomorrow. We would love, even if you can't donate, please join us for the stream, right? Because like the more people watching the stream, the more vibrant and more exciting it's going to be, the more lively everyone's going to be. So even if you can't donate, I understand, like, especially now, right? It's tough. But just hang out with us and have fun. We're going to have a good time. So 6 Eastern tomorrow, 24 hours ahead of us. Folks, this has been an incredible week. Let's keep it rolling. Appreciate everyone that joined me here tonight. We will be doing this again in a few months, no question. It's been a special week. Tune in, CMLL now. Maxwell Jacob Freeman is about to hit the ring, according to JJ Williams. Tune in, enjoy that, keep grinning. All hell, enjoy this outro.
Or Goodbye. Watch something else.